Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Unified live stream where it is time for another amazing night of Friday Night League of Legends. It is the playoffs after a short regular season. We are in playoff mode here for the fall. Thank you guys all so much for joining us for tonight's action. My name's Mac Dewey, and joining me in the casting booth to help guide us along here is my main man, RMC. How are you doing tonight, my man?
Well, my Dewey, I was enjoying myself. I was touching grass out here in the field. We're supposed to be AoE cows versus, the UST Lions. And, yeah, things changed at last minute. So, out goes the grass. And we're into the Wild West here as we've got ourselves the Wild West Bandits facing up against CB Game and MacDo. We've not seen them on stream all regular season long, but I'm glad we get to see them now because Wild West Bandits are the runners-up from the summer split here. Second place dropping only to, well, the AoE Cows or AoE Ginger Turmeric at the time here. And on the other hand, CB Gaming, that's a new organization here to the UPL. They have their roots, starting in the lower divisions. They've worked their way up. I've actually worked with them in the past before in some of the lower leagues. This is their first foray into an uncapped league here. So very much looking forward to how they perform, especially when they got out their groups 3-0 in the regular season.
Yep, the number one seed out of the Ocean Division. CB Gaming looking to make waves here in the playoffs as these two teams are starting off in the upper bracket. Let's take a quick look. You guys can see the upper bracket on the top side of the screen, lower bracket on the bottom half. All of the regular season teams are here. The top two seeds from each division starting off in the upper bracket. They get 2 lives here in the playoffs, and the 3-4 seeds starting off in the lower side of things. So RMC, it is anybody's chance to make it all the way to grand finals. We've got the potential for dark horses to come out any which way in the upper and lower brackets. So I'm really excited to start it off all here tonight.
For sure, and I personally prefer the double elimination bracket compared to, the single elim, where, like you said, 2 chances, people can bounce back if they have a bit of a rough first game. Now, it's still a best of 3 for now, only the finals will be a best of 5, so not a huge difference to the teams in terms of formats. Now, we should probably start running down the rosters for both of these teams here. And since we mentioned CB Gaming, the first seed coming in here, let's start a little bit with them here because there are some people I'm not as familiar with. I'm not as familiar with Lucky Kachu here or Armored Modad, but the two who I am more familiar with are Aaron in that jungle position and Psycho in the AD carry position. And both these guys, big carry players. If you give them the tools to carry, they'll happily do so.
Yep, so far throughout the regular season, we've seen Aaron pull out picks, kind of meta staples, I feel like, but some solid performances on the likes of Vi, Lee Sin, Kindred, and Olaf. So I think we're in for a really exciting matchup as we look on the other side of things, and the runner-up from last split RMC, they've made some roster changes and even positional swaps, so it's really exciting that we get to see exactly how they've been able to mesh. They are the number 2 seed coming out from the Cloud Division, I believe, or excuse me, I don't think from the Cloud Division, I think the Mountain. Regardless, they are looking to once again make that deep playoff run and maybe try and tussle with the cows again at the end of the day.
We had a 1 in 4 chance. And you kind of, well, you had 3 in 4 shots. We covered most of the division, Infernal Division, actually. Where the Wild West Bandits.
I'm briefing.
It's the Wild West Bandits. It's got to be fire. It's got to be fire. It's got to be dry here. And now, Wild West Bandits. The name also, I think, partially inspired by the team they're coming from, University of Texas. At least the top half of the map for them comes from that collegiate team. So they have some history together already. Like you mentioned, we've got 3 players coming back from last split here. Their mid laner, their AD carry, and their jungler YHL, moving from the support position up into the jungle position here. So a bit of a switch coming through. Now, YHL does have a lot of experience in the jungle, so not unfamiliar to him by any means here.
Yeah, and we know that this Wild West Bandits roster can obviously contend, but it's a new season here in the UPL. If there's one thing for sure, we're going to have a lot of chaos, a lot of action throughout the game. No boring world games with only 4 or 5 kills at the 15-minute mark. No. You better buckle up and get ready to go, because here comes the draft for game number 1 again. It's a best of 3 series to start us off in the early rounds of playoffs.
Yeah, and in the first game, actually, a lot of times we'll see teams decide to either go incredibly ham and we get the absolute bloodbath because you can afford to do it on your game one, or we see the really cautious play. Now, I'm hoping for the former rather than the latter here. CB Gaming will be on the blue side to start this series off here. And we mentioned before, Aaron, Psycho are big carries, but really the entire team for them are big carries. Wild West Bandit on the other side tend to play a little bit more structured. Often the carries come from the mid and bot lane. Pulse can be a carry force, but a lot of times they will utilize him more as sort of a utility or tank, put him a bit more weak side so that they can focus on that bottom and mid lane.
Yeah, and for me, kind of a standard start to draft to kick us off here. Aatrox not going to be on the board for easy blue 1 picks at all, and Olaf to ban away, kind of limit Aaron's pool of former high-placed finisher in PGCQ, so really going to be looking at the CB Gaming jungler to kind of dictate the pace for the team.
Yeah, I remember part of that Jake's Kitten squad here where Aaron was really enabled by a lot of his laners. And CB Gaming, honestly, they've kind of been able to match that and replicate that success by giving him strong lanes to work with here. And you can see that Wild West Bandits, they're continuing to double down, not just the Olaf ban here, but the Kindred, which is Aaron's most played champion in competitive play thus far. CB Gaming, the Alawi ban's actually kind of interesting because Pulse whipped it out against Team Fish Taco as an answer to a full engage composition, and honestly didn't have the best showing on it, but it does tell me that maybe CB Gaming's looking to pick a bit more of that sort of hard engage composition, maybe a shorter ranged AD carry, so they want to make sure that they don't have to worry about that running into a Alawi who can just slap them all with tentacles coming in.
And that's the dream, right?
Wait, so is the dream to avoid the tentacles or get slapped by tentacles? Because if it's the latter, back to me.
Depends on the person,
have some words after
RMC.
this.
Depends on the person.
True.
Yeah, this should be interesting here. LeBlanc going to round out the bans, and we get to roll into some picks. Here we go, RMC. This is what I've been waiting for all day. I've been looking forward to this match.
Yeah, I'm a little bit sad we actually saw the Zed to LeBlanc being taken away because they're both assassins and more, shall we say, high-tempo mid laners where they try and get kills and solo kills, 1v1 sort of stuff like that. Both mid laners kind of taking that off the table for now. And I don't think there's any sort of power picks or pocket picks that they'll be wanting to pick early. I think we're going to see fairly standard 2 come through. The Azir coming in for Kachu right away here. Very staple pick. We've seen it kind of dominate at Worlds. Doesn't really have terrible lane matchups for the most part, so you're really safe to pick it. CB Gaming not wanting to show anything just yet here. And if we're talking standard, Maokai, Yuumi, picks like that do come to mind here, and the Maokai already locked in, huge flex pick.
Oh my goodness, and a surprise! I mean, so much for standard picks and stuff and things we've been seeing at Worlds. This is what we get here in the UPL. Spicy picks, interesting champions, and Echo RMC, I mean, Maokai right now is even a bit of a flex pick right now, so I feel like Wild West Bandits not really showing too much, but also getting some really solid picks in.
Yeah, I mean, with that Echo, though, Echo's pretty much at the jungle or mid lane right now, and judging by how YHL and Cry now like to play, I would assume that's going mid here to try and punish the Azir.
Yeah.
Kind of risky. I mean, it's Assassins, you do kind of try and get in there, and then Azir large just to play around that Emperor's Divide. The Maokai, though, kind of being answered by the Udyr here a little bit. A flex pick that can go top or jungle and do pretty well into the Maokai as well. Aphelios, though, being picked up for Psycho. I personally like that champion a lot. I think he's very versatile. Can try and punish early if he's got the right combination of guns and skills incredibly well. WWE, Wild West Bandits, they're just doubling down, Wild West, let's pick up pistols, let's pick up guns. Pirates, Cowboys, not that far apart. Misfortune, they're going for it. Already quite decent team fight coming through. Echo actually does allow for that with the parallel convergence to come through. I would expect to see either, more AoE CC to come through from the support role if they're not going to flex the Maokai down there. Something like a Nautilus or Leona would be perfect here.
RMC, something I feel like I have to mention. Since Udyr's rework, I haven't been able to see him in action, so 1, I'm really excited to see how it looks, and 2, he was my absolute favorite champion all the way through pretty much when I was a hardcore League gamer. From the days, it used to be the Feral Flame, and then even before that with the Spirit Stone oh gosh, what else was it? Like the claw or something where you would go like 2 jungle items and just power farm through the jungle. I used to terrorize gold elo through it. As we see through the second phase of Band's super support focus in Wild West Bandits. They get a really strong pick here after the support slaughter, but Renata's still available, so CB Gaming able to kind of answer back.
Yeah, you only get 2 bans, right? And you can tell exactly what each team is thinking of. CB Gaming banning those aggressive supports that we talked about, the Leona, the Amumu as well, which it kind of slipped my mind, and therefore we get that Nautilus that we kind of mentioned there. There's too many supports or aggressive supports, and then what was Bandits? They're banning defensive supports, Braum, Tarek, to come through as well. Renata, though, I think is a great answer into all this hard engage that Wild West Bandits wants to put in. I'm a little bit concerned right now for Wild West Bandits range-wise. They're relying very heavily on Misfortune to be able to put down any sort of range damage, and that's mostly going to be on her ultimate. Other than that, they're going to be answered very well by the Renata, and the set to come through as well does mean anybody going in is probably going to be grabbed a little bit closer. The Graves, okay, I like the attempted answer here to deal with the range, but I think a lot of it's going to come down to Aphelios guns. What do you have up for these fights?
As the draft is complete, both teams locking in their champions. We get a good look at exactly what is going on here. And you were talking about Wild West Bandits with a bit of a range issue. Graves not really going to help out too much with that, but still a potential carry pick for someone very, very interesting, I think, in this matchup. We were talking about YHL before, moving from the support role into the jungle, and he's got a big matchup going up against Aaron's Udyr.
Yeah, and for YHL as well, when you pick something like a Graves is a very aggressive early jungler. When we see Graves picked up, you need to get your impact in early on. If you can get your lane snowballing, if you can get yourself ahead, you can be incredibly impactful. The dives from Graves are also very, very strong here. Now, with Graves as well, there are multiple builds. Like there's the Eclipse build, there's Gore Drinker build. I would say probably Gore Drinker might be a little bit more difficult for Wild West Bandits to pull off here because you're running into not too many melees. Yes, there's a new tier. Yes, there's a set. But that's kind of it. And considering that CB Gaming is going to be playing backwards or defensively for the most part, Graves might struggle here, but there's an opportunity. And for Wild West Bandits, as much as I'm worried about their scaling and their ability to actually engage CB Gaming later, if you smash hard enough early on, you can just carry on from there, right? You've got the Graves, you've got Misfortune Nautilus in that bot side here. That's a really strong bot lane. And against Renata Aphelios, if a hook lands on either of them, well, they're kind of squishy. I don't think either of them are going to enjoy a one-ton anchor to the face. So I'd love to see Wild West Bandits, focus that bot side priority, maybe mid lane as well. You know, leave the Maokai on an island. We already know that Pulse can play weak side if necessary, so leave him to it. Get your bot side rolling, take over from there.
No, absolutely. RMC, I'm picturing just the Wild West Bandits planting the tree up in the top lane and hoping that the Wild West seasonality, hopefully it's not a dry season up there, but they're going to just have to hope and pray for whatever goes on with Pulse. We're going to really see how well he manages the weak side matchup as we're going to hop into game. Summoners, welcome onto the Rift.
Okay, nothing too aggressive. I do like where Plux is standing here a little bit, seeing if maybe you can find anything on to Kachu, but Kachu also just being very standard and lucky up there. One of the things I love most about Set as a character is the sit-ups, right? In TFT, the way, you know, he just does that as well. And when you get to spam it on Summoner's Rift as well, it feels like one of the most BM things you can do. Worse than just emote spamming people.
And looking a little bit, we see Cry now going for the Electrocute on Echo. Big eyes on him for me personally, as is he going to be able to blow up the back line? What are going to be kind of the plays going on there? Wild West Bandits, as you were kind of mentioning, if the early game doesn't really go their way, it's going to be a little tricky to kind of scale up into picks like the Azir, like the Aphelios. And so I think Cry now with, hey, we know this guy's a super strong mid laner here in the UPL, and I think it will be really cool to see how well he does here as playoffs start off.
Yeah, a little bit of aggression already in that bot side here. Really good answer from Psycho and Modad here to be able to win out. Level 1 Nautilus actually isn't that scary yet, but you know, we touched a lot on the What Was Bandits here. I'm going to talk a bit about CB Gaming and how their comp might operate, but I might have to put that on hold because bot side just keeps trading here.
Plux, has he got a... we saw Duo King 2 weeks ago on the Hook Champions, acting like he had a magnet on the end of that hook, and so far Plux starting off on quite the solid foot here as Cry now gonna be trying to go toe-to-toe with the Azir, but those shoulders... Oh, the hook! The flash prediction for a first blood!
And mid lane too, Kachu.
Cry now, not... Oh, getting real low. Kachu with the flash underneath the turret RMC. What a close series of events.
Cry still has flash up, so we might get a sudden kill into the mid lane. I expect to see the junglers come and relieve them because it's going to get really dicey for both of them here. Cry they're getting zoned out. And that bot side play from Plux and John Johns, we said that, hey, you know, maybe visit that bot side with your jungler, get them ahead. No need for that. John Johns, Plux doing it on their own. They don't need help. They're taking over here. And that's scary for CB Gaming a little bit here because Plux, you know, played that perfectly. And you can continue to do that. We said that level 1 for Nautilus not that scary. Level 3, he starts getting really scary, especially into this Renata Aphelios. We saw how hard it is for them to get away.
Kachu with no flash here in the mid lane. Arwen's going to be able to come and help out. The shield from the shuffle helping out, but it's a flash from YHL to pick up the kill. Aaron just going to... Yeah, he popped Ghost. Gonna have to try and disappear out of the lane.
Yeah, Plux rotating up as well here. I like this from the Wild West Bandits. They're just trying to get control over every single lane. Why not when you've already controlled the bot side, you've got an advantage mid as well. And Kachu got a little bit greedy, didn't match the base timing from Crynow. And we mentioned the flash disparity as well, the fact that Crynow had it. So Crynow was more than happy to just re-engage after his TP back and actually still has that flash up. So if ever, you know, they are able to punish Kachu again, call up Plux, call up YHL, it's a nice easy gank into that mid lane.
Yeah, and potentially, I think with how well Echo can kind of shove in waves, Kachu not going to be one potential... We would think without Flash, Kachu is not going to push up very far in lane. He does have a lot of range on that Azir pick, but maybe Cry now could look to roam into the bot lane, which we were thinking Wild West Bandits would probably focus on.
And perhaps that's why Kachu is likely to keep pushing, actually, just to hold Cry now in that lane, right? That way, you don't want the enemy Echo just roaming out whenever they can, you know, getting those ganks down. And Azir, with the range advantage, can really bully out the Echo. I think up to level 6, Azir can kind of take over this lane. And as the Echo, you're kind of trying to force trades as much as possible to keep things even. Post 6, things get a lot more complicated because of the way Echo can chrono break his way back into the fight. And of course, you know, as the Azir, you have the Emperor's Divide to keep you safe, but then you're kind of trading ultimate. So I expect to see Kachu still play kind of aggressively, and that's why I'm a little bit worried about potential reganks from Wild West Bandits.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the top lane, the island matchup, Lucky naturally starting to build up a little bit of a CS advantage. So, Arwen with a potential opportunity, I want to point out RMC as well, to maybe look on the top side of things for some potential plays. The map is wide open, potentially, for both of these teams. So, a really fun match as the bot laners of Wild West Bandits are going to reset. Cry now, previously coming back from a reset, doing a really solid trade there on Kachu.
Yeah, and for Aaron, or LCS 2023 or Hobo, just so you guys know, that's Aaron. We're going to keep calling him Aaron because his other name's too long. he got boots of swiftness really early on, and he hasn't ganked yet. He's just been power farming up to this point here. YHL is actually outstripping him, and now they're punishing him.
Plux with the dredge line, the ignite onto Arwen as well, but he's going to be able to get out of that one just fine. But already, RMC, the Wild West Bandits roster addition, Plux in the support role, is making a huge impact.
Yeah, this is kind of what we remember Plux for, you know, in Proving Grounds. Really strong roaming, really good shot calling to come through as well. I have very little doubt that he's being very vocal in comms, you know, making sure that, hey, we're shoved up bot, I can move out, let's try and get control. And because of that, he didn't get the assist on that mid kill, but he was there to help out if anything went wrong. And that jungle invade, he's right there. He's really helping his jungler. YHL now able to start up this dragon completely for free. And I want to highlight that Johns has not struggled whatsoever in lane. Yes, he's down a little bit of CS, but it's not a significant amount whatsoever. And when they start hitting that level 6, I expect to see more kills start to come through from this bot lane.
Well, as the first dragon is slain, we're about a minute out from the first Rift Herald. With how bot lane is going and how well Plux and YHL are playing together, I wonder if CB Gaming are going to be able to prioritize this Rift Herald, which I think would maybe help them get back into this early game.
Well, if they're going to want to do that, it's coming from Lucky. Because Lucky right now is that one significantly winning lane here. Yeah, granted they're winning in CS bot and mid, but it's not significant. Topside though, Lucky's been shoving in Pulse constantly here and winning out a lot of these trades. So if they can kind of punish Pulse, maybe CB Gaming can go for it. If not, I think you actually just sit back and scale with CB Gaming. The scaling on this team is great.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure, they've given up 2 kills. Not ideal, but it's only 1k at this point in the game. It's not game over by a long shot, and they've got a lot of holding power with the Aphelios, with the Azir.
RMC says it's still winnable for CB Gaming, and I have to agree. Too many times, I feel like, on the cast, we've seen, both in our fair share of experience, RMC, I'm going to speak for you a little bit, but 200 years of Aphelios gameplay. If that's taught me anything, it's taught that it's always going to be potentially relevant in the late game.
Yeah, coming to the top side here, Lucky.
YHL gonna try and pick up this kill. Lucky using the showstopper. Here comes Arwen to try and turn this fight. Flashes from both top laners. Pulse avoids the haymaker as there's gonna be no kills coming into the lane.
Yeah, considering how that gank whack, I think Lucky played it incredibly well. Great showstopper to nullify a lot of that Maokai ultimate here. And maybe that's what CB Gaming needed to start looking at this Herald here. We do see Modad up there and...
Meanwhile, look at this. It's red and white for Seiko. Big fight opportunity, but Plux dominating. Has picked up a kill on Nakachu. Is going to get slain in response. Cry now. No ultimate, no mana. Is not in a good position to fight. RMC, watch Lucky roaming down. This is a fight CB Gaming could look to win as Lucky has arrived now. Cry now able to flash on out of there. Pulse and YHL going to try to escape respectively. The Facebreaker connects. They're going to try to fight it back. A huge haymaker. Big shielding and damage from the CB top laner is going to be enough to help turn that fight in their favor. And RMC, I believe it was a 2-for-1 in favor of CB Gaming.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't track. Flux is coming back though. That was what I was tracking. The timers, it's so long. Modad is so low here.
Flux? A solo kill? Oh my goodness, Cry now has come as well. It's the UPL classic chaos aggression. Seiko gonna be able to flash away out of there, but it is Arwen maybe looking to secure the Rift Herald. Does not get it. YHL has stolen the objective, and CB Gaming lose big there.
I really appreciate CB Gaming's willingness to go for the scrap there. But unfortunately, it's just too early in the game. Wild West Bandits, because they lost Plux first, Plux came back in first as well, and they're able to turn the tides. Now, the other thing to note was Johns did not show up for that fight whatsoever. Psycho was there. CB Gaming fought that 5v4.
Yep.
And the misfortune is the big team fight ultimate. Johns just got to push bot side, got a bunch of CS, got 2 plates, well, without the use of Herald. Now, Wild West Bandits want to accelerate the pace of the game. They drop that Herald bot side, they get first break real easy here.
And then that easily allows them to kind of rotate the bot lane, and we already see John's chilling in the mid lane as, you know, not really a big need to head back down into the bot lane right now. We'll have to keep a close eye on the lane assignments as the Wild West Bandits sitting here at the 11-minute mark with almost a 3k gold lead, about 2.5k ahead right now, as YHL also going to be able to get the mythic item online. Eclipse has been completed.
First mythic of the game, along with the Kraken Slayer from Johns down in that bot side here. So they're in a massive strong point. For CB Gaming, the good news is, one, Lucky is still winning out that top side. Just took 2 plates on his own here, able to match Johns. And the second thing is that their kills are on Psycho. So they've got good kill distribution here. they can still stay in it here. They're not out of it just yet, McDewey. They just need to be careful what fights they pick. That was kind of one of the reasons why I didn't really want to see them contest Herald.
Meanwhile, RMC, as you talked about, Rift Herald getting put down into the bot lane to try and knock down the turret to get the first turret in the game. Wild West Bandits with a really solid position. Flux lining up the hook perfectly.
There we go.
It is a huge ultimate from JJ to take down Seiko. Now Arwen gonna try and get out using the ram, but the snipe from Plux is gonna help finish off the CB jungler. 2 kills and a turret going over to the Bandits.
And that's that bullet time we were talking about earlier, McDewey. We said it was dangerous. We said we didn't see it. And now we do. Bodies hit the floor. Just in time for second Drake as well. Wild West Bandits really efficient with this, and this is why they were second place last split here. Granted, they didn't win every single match. They don't have to. Lucky dueling it out with policy. I don't think there'll be a kill mid lane.
Kaichu using the Emperor's Divide to push back Cry now and just barely get out of that trade as the Bandits get another objective. 3 for 3 so far as they take down the second Drake of the game and have almost a 5k gold lead. RMC right now it's about 4.5k.
Yeah, and now that first brick is down as well here, McDewey, it's when we're going to see the pace of the game sort of accelerate. Wild West Bandits, the Misfortune is no longer locked into that bot lane here. You can rotate her to whichever lane you'd like, and I'd personally like to kind of see them try and get Pulse out of trouble. Match Lucky with the Misfortune and the Nautilus here. You can outrange, and it's not like Lucky has Ghost either, so as long as you position properly, you should be fine. Then maybe Pulse can, you know, farm up a little bit, because Pulse is down 40 CS right now. It's the biggest CS discrepancy in the game, and that's what happens, you know, when you pick that Maokai early, get countered by the set. It's perfectly acceptable, but ideally, hey, if you can get him some CS, get him back to the game, get him his first Mythic, most importantly, that's the best situation for Wild West Bandits.
Yeah, some more Mythic items coming online here as CB Gaming trying to do their best job of getting gold where they can off of these plates before the 14-minute mark. I believe they got 2 in the top lane from Lucky, and then the bot lane we saw able to pick one out there. JJ in the top lane. We talked about keeping a close eye on these lane rotations. A huge haymaker gonna deal a bunch of damage, but Lucky forced to flash away after the bullet time ultimate comes out.
Yeah, and that's why I like that. It's lane assignment. Punish Lucky, who's sort of the most fed member of their team. Mid lane, what was important was Cry now actually held 1v2 and threatened a kill onto Psycho as well. And that's optimal lane assignments here for Wild West Bandits. It's giving Pulse time. It's forcing danger onto CB Gaming. And now they're rotating Psycho up to hold this. I'm a little bit scared about putting Psycho when he's that low health up there. It's diveable territory. The only thing Wild West Bandits are waiting for right now is for that bullet time to come back off cooldown.
Yep, not a lot of mana for JJ, but still plenty of auto attacks to go around to everybody. The CB bot lane gonna try to hold down the fort as we see Cry now from the mid lane roaming up here for potential dive. Kaichu trying to roam up, but he may be a little late. Let's see. Parallel Convergence not going to be able to find anyone. Plux is taken down. Psycho is the first kill of the fight, but Cry now going to be able to finish off the support Psycho with a big shutdown, but that is a wonderful shot there from JJ to pick up the second kill of the fight. Wild West Bandits take it over, getting a turret and another 2 for 1 as oh my goodness, collateral damage, unable to finish off the CB mid laner.
Kachu, gotta be sweating a little bit there. That was risky from him. And for Pulse, I honestly don't think the TP was necessary, but he just wanted to get in there, get some assists. Only unfortunately got the 1 assist in that fight. And that's going to give Lucky all the time he needs in this bot side to answer back turret for turret. So if we ignore the kills here, CB Gaming kind of happy with that trade. The problem is the kills here, McDewey. Well, West Bandits keep finding kills, keep finding dives, and they just showed us they can do that top lane. They can do it again mid lane. They can do it again bot lane here. CB Gaming, they're struggling a little bit, and you can no longer farm safely. You've got to be a little bit more proactive, and you've got to start finding picks of your own here. Aaron, 0-3-0, 0 KP thus far.
The Bandits doing an amazing job roaming around the town here on Summoner's Rift and stealing away everything. CB Gaming so far down 2 turrets, down a whole lot of kills. But the next Dragon RMC spawning in about 90 seconds here with the second Rift Herald of the game now in progress. The Bandits, I mean, this is looking like almost a perfect game from them. The second Rift Herald could easily set up into a potential soul point and lead them to getting the third Dragon.
The player gold there, 4 out of 5, or sorry, 3 out of 5 of the top golds here, all belonging to Wild West Bandits, and John's is significantly further ahead than everyone else as well. LDR already picked up. That bullet time is just gonna rake right across.
Oh! What? Blux! You mad lad! Says no to the Shurima wall, and Dredge lines to safety there. Almost finds a repeat hook. But the pick for CB Gaming, the Emperor's Divide Ultimate not being there for this fight. Let's see what Lucky can do here, but this is going to be tough for CB to try and contest.
I mean, you traded Emperor's Divide for bullet time. If you're CB Gaming, I think you're going to say worth on that particular trade here. The issue is, what else can you deal with? There's so much potential damage to come through from Wild West Bandits. They've shown that they don't necessarily need the bullet time to win fights here. And more importantly, look, they're force stacking mid right now, and they forced all of CB Gaming back. Psycho cannot hold this alone, so now you lose your last outer turret. That Dragon that they were originally scrapping over, it's firmly on Wild West Bandits half the map.
Easy pickup for the Bandits, as not going to be any objective bounties for the Bandits getting picked up just yet. They've got that bounty on their head, but CB Gaming unable to cash in for the time being. Did pick up a little bit of extra gold for the bot lane turret earlier, but Lucky, most CS in the game hasn't really been in a playable position, I would say, to make a strong impact, just with how scrappy this game has been.
Yeah, and if you think back to the beginning, I mean, CB Gaming kind of did decently with their scraps as well here. They were matching quite well until about, what was that, the 10-minute mark, the 8-minute mark, right around when Herald spawned, and that was when things started going a little bit sideways and pear-shaped for CB Gaming here. So
for sure.
Since then, they have been struggling to try and find their ways back into the game. But Wild West Bandits, they're just playing faster right now. It feels like every time CB Gaming is trying to set up for an objective, you know, when they're looking for a turret, they're looking for Dragon, Wild West Bandits are already there, and they're making sure they've accelerated their lead. They picked up their soul point as well here, so they're in really good position. They're not worried about skilling anymore here in, what was it, 4 minutes? When that soul comes back up, Wild West Bandits happily go there. And in the meantime, I want to see them continue accelerating the pace of the game. Don't ever let CB Gaming get a moment to catch their breath.
CB Gaming crossing their fingers that maybe around one of these big objectives they might be able to find a huge Emperor's Divide, maybe, to swing things in their favor. But right now, the sand is looking kind of dry, RMC, and not a lot going for CB. They are down only 5k gold here, and they're grouping up now in the bot lane control ward, and to be able to spot out the jungler. Arwen now is noticed by Wild West Bandits. They still do want to point out YHL, with Rift Herald about to expire, has the potential to maybe knock down an inner turret.
Yeah, I think if you're Wild West Bandits here, you just go mid, right? Just brute force the mid lane. You saw many people down bot side. Cry now just running over Kachu here.
The Chrono Shift, or the Chrono Break, I believe. I keep forgetting which one's which between the Zillion and the Echo Ultimate. I know the two Time Lords, they keep me on my toes, as the Rift Herald going to be able to help take down the mid lane inner turret, and a charge on the inhibitor is going to crack the base a little bit as CB Gaming. You mentioned it earlier, Kachi's already been sweating since about the 12-minute mark here. Now I feel like the whole team's in a similar boat.
Well, I think they've been there for a while, especially when the Herald not only got your inner mid turret, it crashed into your inhibitor turret as well. If your inhibitor drops mid, CB Gaming just lose all control of the map. McDewey, if you're struggling to remember Chrono Shift and Chrono Break, just remember Echo is the boy who shattered time. So he broke Chrono Break.
There we go. Thanks, RMC.
Yep.
See, hey, it's a learning cast, right?
True, yeah. Educational. What more could you want from it? Well, I'd like more kills, for one. I'd like to see CB Gaming find more kills for one, but we'll take educational for now.
We'll take educational. All right. Well, let's see if we can take a look. I feel like there's a league competitive manual with closing out games, trying to do so as cleanly as possible. The Bandits, as we mentioned before, looking to make a deep playoff run here. During the regular season, they did drop a series, I believe, It only happened, this is a similar boat they were in last split, only dropping a few games in the regular season, but now the playoff buff, Plux is looking fantastic to start out the series, and YHL with the move from support into the jungle 2-0-4 on the Graves, and RMC, I think we saw throughout the early game, the two of them working together in sync was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, even a lot of these plays that we're seeing now is still coming out of Plux and YHL working together here. Thank you, producer. The only loss Wild West Bandits had, as shown there, was just to Team Fish Taco, who is another really strong team here. So, you know, Wild West Bandits showing that that was just a one-off bad week, right? They're bouncing, they're coming into playoffs incredibly strong. And we mentioned that YHL was playing support for Wild West Bandits last split here in the UPL.
Yeah.
And perhaps it's because he was in that support role. He's been really on point with his connection with Plux, right? The jungle support roam together hasn't necessarily been the most important thing in meta. It's been more about jungle mid, but specifically for Wild West Bandits this game, it's about jungle support. And it's enabling Crying Out, it's enabling Johns to find advantages in the lane.
Meanwhile, Engage coming in, Kachu trying to find the pick, JJ getting low, JJ shut down as CB Gaming get their first big pick of the game, and the pings RMC, they're headed towards Baron Nashor.
Yep, this is a desperation call here. You got the kill, you need to go for it. Can they find Cry Now?
Cry Now trying to find access into the backline, looking to maybe find a pick onto the jungler, but he can't find anyone. He's gonna chrono break and try and reset the clock, but the shutdown, the showstopper, Lucky looking so darn good, and CB Gaming, RMC, they found their way back into this one.
CB Gaming stands for Come to Baron Gaming, apparently. They baited that perfectly there, got the kill, and yeah, they had to rush it. Wild West Bandits got a little bit dicey with that there, and I don't think there was even a ward for CB Gaming to spot out Cry Now. They just kind of knew that, hey, odds are they're in the bush. Let's just check the bush with one of our tanks, bait them in, find the kill. And that's a whole big influx of gold here for them. They're now only down, what is that, about 4,500 gold. It was starting to spiral out of control, 6k gold. They've kind of shrank it. It's still tough for them here if they want to straight up fight, but if they can find picks, like we've been calling for all game, like they just pulled out here, McDewey, there's still life in them yet.
Bada bing, bada boom. They're right back in it after a huge Emperor's Divide from Kachu. And with the Banshee's Veil, I mean, I feel like that itemization sets him up. Funnily, I mean, he does have the opportunity, hey, I'm gonna dash in the first CC spell. You're not gonna be able to really interrupt what I'm doing here. And there's not particularly a lot of hard CC outside of Pulse and Plux. We'll see though, Lucky getting picked off here, a huge haymaker, a lot of damage there onto YHL, but Lucky gonna be taken down as the dredge line misses. TP coming in, Pulse, no ultimate available, bullet time going to melt the health bars down a little bit as another dash in from Kachu, looking for a big play.
Okay.
There's the Emperor's Divide to force back Cry Now. The Renata ultimate not gonna have a huge impact there. Wild West Bandits, I mean, they got a big pick on the Lucky RMC. He does not have teleport, and the Bandits are going to try to steal away Baron as, look at this huge chokehold Cry Now, able to pick up the kill onto the support. Plux finding another hook. JJ in the backline, firing away. Seiko, the last one standing, has a double, trying to melt through the Bandits, but not going to be able to find more kills there. It is a 2 for 4 overall, as Lucky has respawned from earlier. Erwin on the Udyr RMC solo though, but Wild West Bandits with only 3, they're not going to be able to look for Baron.
Well, Come to Baron Gaming apparently has become called at Baron Gaming. That was a little bit unfortunate. Turnabout is fair play though. Wild West Bandits literally just pulled the exact same thing CB Gaming did. And Lucky is tanky, but you cannot be wandering in alone like that without vision. Look at the vision in that area, McDougie. It's all red around Baron right now. The silver lining in the clouds for CB Gaming is, despite the fact that yes, they lost that fight, they're just kind of back in the position they were earlier. It's not like Wild West Bandits actually took Baron and they didn't get any more turrets. So CB Gaming, they're fine with that. The longer it goes, the better for them. At this point in the game, you know, they're not necessarily looking for out and out wins. If you can match, if you can trade even, they'll take that.
Yeah. RMC, I don't know if you caught that small moment there, but dare I say, only a jungler who formerly played support would give the red buff to the ADC like that, am I right? Walking away from the camp, he says, you know what, I'll just take Krugs, you've earned it, JJ. And JJ's like, thank you, you're my support, you got me.
Yeah, I mean, literally, he was JJ's support last split, so
I
JJ's
know,
was like, hey, that's my red buff, man.
Yeah, right, he's like, what, have you learned nothing?
Good guy, YHL. And frankly, he's got Cerrodus. He doesn't really need the red buff for the slow. If you're looking to apply the burn, JJ can do that just as effectively. So it probably is better on that Misfortune right now. Plucks another hook.
Lucky, not really the one you want to hook, though, but getting low, doesn't use the Haymaker. Cry now gets the huge pick, as now we get a big fight here, whole lot of damage. Seiko is deleted, RMC, as the Bandits get the fight they're looking for.
Yeah, and this time, the Bandits will finally be able to make off with Baron here, with Jungler down, with multiple members down. CB Gaming can't contest this, and this might be the death knell for CB Gaming in this game one. They did so well stalling out through that mid game after that rough early, but against Baron buff here, I don't know about this one, actually.
On top of Baron Nashor going down, the Baron power play begins, and Dragon, the potential Mountain Soul, spawning in about less than a minute. The Bandits with about a 9k gold lead here. YHL and JJ alongside Cry now. The staples of the Bandits still so strong here. A split after their second place finish. Are looking fantastic and certainly feeling comfortable with this lead. But as we know, can't throw in the towel just yet, as Kachu, Flash, Emperor's Divide available. Might be able to find another pick before this next Dragon.
Yeah, and I mean, Johns and Lux here, they're walking up real deep here. Maybe you find a pick. Maybe you find one onto Cry now as well. I'll say this much, by the way. When you're behind, I'd rather see the losing team try and make a hero play, one way or another. This, I mean,
so
maybe not the hero play I was looking for.
Damage from YHL. The shotgun with the Graves. Huge amount. And the slow. It was like Erwin wasn't able to run away from that one.
Yeah, I mean, as a deer, you know, you try and run away, but with the Cerrodus, can't do anything. Plucks playing with fire here, but
and again,
that's why Nautilus is busted.
Dredge line, here comes the huge Maokai ultimate coming in as well. Cry now on a rampage. JJ picking up the Mountain Soul. The Wild West Bandits making out with a huge Game 1 performance. A triple kill from Cry now. YHL finishes off CB Gaming with the ace. With the whole squad wearing purple, RMC, maybe this could be the end of the game.
Yep, Mountain Soul to boot as well. They get additional armor, as if they weren't hard enough to kill before with the shield.
Right.
Aaron, just dance, buddy. Like, you're not going to be able to hold this. They're pushing on two fronts right now. 10 seconds before we see Psycho and Maudad really start joining the fight again, and even in a 3v5 situation, they can't hold.
Nexus turrets are under siege. CB Gaming gonna respawn here. Seiko, red and white, gonna try and save the game, but the Nexus is getting low. Check the time. It's bullet time. JJ on a rampage, finishing off the squad, and in under 30 minutes, the Wild West Bandits make away with game number 1.
Well, Matthew, you know, when we came into this night, I was thinking, CB Gaming, one of the fun things we do with CB Gaming is CB can stand for anything. And I was thinking tonight it was going to be Cowboys versus Bandits. That's what the CB is standing for. And sure, you know, game 1, it's like an old Western. Yeah. You know, episode 1 or the beginning of the movie, you see the villains, the Bandits, kind of steal something, get away with it here. But the Cowboys bounce back, right? They always bounce back, right? That's a thing, yeah?
RMC, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at this post-game graphic. Mwah! Clean! Look at this! Oh my goodness, I'm so happy right now. This makes me feel good. CB Gaming taking the L here in game number 1. Wild West Bandits looking absolutely phenomenal. RMC, what a start to the series. Again, ladies and gentlemen, it is a best of 3. So CB Gaming now against with their walls against the back. No, with their back up against the wall. They're going to have to turn things around in game number 2. Until then, we're going to hop into a quick break and get ready to go for the next match. Don't click out of that browser. We'll be right back with some more UPL. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Unified live stream where we are continuing on our coverage of the UPL Fall 2022 playoffs. Round 1 here in the upper bracket RMC. It's CB Gaming taking on Wild West Bandits, and the Bandits, the previous runners-up to the 2022 summer season, are looking absolutely in playoff form to start things out.
Yeah, they made off with game 1 and left CB Gaming in the dust there. And we had some time to look a little bit at what happened in that game 1 here, MacDewey. And we've also been told that CB Gaming will remain on the blue side for the game 2. They've opted for that first pick. And frankly, I think part of their problem was just the draft that they did, went for a lot of scaling. They didn't have very much early game options. So the moment they fell behind early, you just kind of had to hope and pray that the other team wouldn't push. And Bandits, they just accelerate the pace of the game. So I think for the side of CB Gaming, they're looking to pick themselves up, a little bit more early game strength just to get them to the point where the scaling can kick in.
Yeah, and looking kind of at that draft, something I'm hoping to see a little bit of in game 2 RMC is a champion switch for Aaron. We saw the Udyr didn't really do too much. Really, I think struggled skirmishing wise, especially against the Graves, and we even saw during that first match 2v2 in the top lane, no deaths. Really, CB Gaming needed, I think, for that big fight to kind of go more their way, and then the bot lane from Wild West Bandits were able to just snowball all over the map after clearing through the bot lane, rotating up into the top lane, really solidly executed. For game 2, Aaron was my player to watch for CB going into the series, and so I'm really hoping to see him step up here in game 2.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, he was also the player to watch for Wild West Bandits, right? We saw 2 bans being leveled at him in that first round of bans right away here, and then R5 was given to the side of YHL to counter Aaron as well. So, to be fair to Aaron, there's not a lot you can do when you're being focused down that hard. And that's why I kind of want to see, maybe a little bit more early strength somewhere else to help him out, or maybe give him a bit more early game agency. Maybe Aaron picks the Graves himself here. And that's a champion where you can kind of do things on your own, really have a lot more impact rather than Udyr, who does need a little bit of lane assist or lane follow-up.
And kind of building on some of our thoughts from game number 1, Plux, the support for the Wild West Bandits coming from the Cincinnati Fear, absolutely showing up in game number 1 on the Nautilus. Plex, known for, I think, a lot of these engaged type champions. Leona and Amumu were banned away, but that didn't stop Plex from having a massive impact on the first game.
Yeah, so Plux is a very versatile player. He's a player that, I've watched for quite a while, and I think he's a really good shot caller for the team. Back earlier in spring and summer, he was playing more Enchanters because that was just the meta at the time. But now that we've shifted back to engaged champions here, MacDude, like you mentioned, that's really when, that sense of engage, the shot calling really shines through, because now you can just engage whenever you see an opportunity. And we saw that with the Nautilus hooks over and over again. Yeah, sure, he had some amazing escapes, and those can go on a highlight reel. But his engages were really what won a lot of those fights, finding whoever's out of position, picking them off. And I'm curious to see if CB Gaming decide to pinch the champion pool of the support even further here. They already threw a Leona, a Mumu ban, but maybe we start seeing bans in the first phase as well against Plux.
Yeah, CB Gaming looking to adapt and hopefully survive and thrive here in the second matches. We're getting our way into the draft. Same sides, CB Gaming with the option to maybe look at getting a different blue first pick, the Azir, while Kachu, I think, looked pretty well on it throughout kind of the early stages of the game, did kind of end up struggling when the rest of the Bandits kind of started circling up. The cavalry came in to help Cry now really push ahead in that lane. So I wonder, what is CB Gaming going to prioritize with this blue 1 pick? Do they go back to the Azir? Do they try to ban things away? And RMC, I did see your face before at the Draven ban, which Very, that's, we talked about adapting, but that's a pretty interesting direction to go.
I mean, before we talk about Blue One picks, we should probably talk about Blue One bans, right? Like, where's this Draven feels like it's coming out of left field here. We didn't see it in game one. It was neither picked nor banned here. And and it surprises me that we're seeing here. And that to me suggests that Psycho wants to play something aggressive in lane. Something maybe the Misfortune himself, or a Kalista, maybe a Tristana, something like that, which is why you'd ban away that Draven here. Yeah. So if we're talking about first picks here, McDowie, maybe we see that priority on that Misfortune instead. Take it away, or a Kalista to try and match that.
Yep. Pulse's Alawi once again hitting the ban phase. Pulse we saw play, honestly, our RMC, I'm curious how you'd rate the solo kind of weak side experience, but I thought Pulse did an awesome job kind of managing his role in the top lane there, being kind of a little weak tree in the early game, but really reinforced the squad later on.
Yeah, I mean, as a tree, you're just trying to survive, right? Like, living is a win as far as Maokai is concerned. Yeah, I think Pulse did perfectly well on that Maokai. Yes, he went down a lot in CS, but it doesn't matter if you're into a set. If you're down into a CS, into a Fiora, a Jax, you worry. But a set, that's fine for the most part. Utility here. Now, we do see the Aatrox banned again. And McDowie, I know that you were mentioning off stream that you really wish you'd see that Aatrox first pick instead.
I hear it's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, and Lucky knows how to play it. Interestingly enough, we're still seeing the Aatrox ban come through, and with the Alawi as well. You know, considering what we saw from Pulse here, it really feels like CB Gaming is giving a lot of respect and trying to make sure that Pulse stays weak side.
Yeah, and I wonder, what is CB Gaming gonna do to set up Lucky on the top side? Is it gonna come from a switch up in the jungle position to help him be more aggressive in the top lane against maybe a weak side Pulse? We'll have to see as the rest of the draft is yet to unfold. CB Gaming with the first pick, taking their time. Very interested to see RMC how game number 2 unfolds after the Bandits pretty much dominated game number 1.
Okay, so there we go. A Maokai first pick here, McDowie. Now, in terms of meta, I think it's a very solid pickup to come through here. We saw the strength of it in Pulse's hand, and just the strength in draft as well gives you with the flex, but still doesn't explain, pardon me, the question I had about why Draven ban, because Draven might chuck axes, but this is the League of Legends here, and axes aren't always the best answer into trees here.
I thought it's the League of Draven RMC. What are you talking about? I don't. What's this League of Legends you're talking about?
Well, it's certainly not the League of Draven, because he's on the bench here. Yeah. Sejuani being answered by Wild West Bandits. Again, another potential flex pick into top or into jungle. If it goes to top, though, I don't want to look there anymore, McDowie. Like, Maokai and Sejuani in the top lane, like, just avert your eyes. Nothing's going to happen up there.
Not even Ignite on the Burning Tree can really make that one too interesting as a surprise little Varus pick. Something that I think has been creeping its way into the meta because of a range shift into the bot lane. Interesting to see it come out early on and not so much as like an in-response pick, but Wild West Bandits keeping their flexibility, I think, open with the Sejuani in the Jhin locked-in response to go into the Varus.
Okay, so we're seeing a lot of Varus as well because he's strong in lane and he's got very flexible builds. He can cut through tanks very effectively as well. So Wild West Bandits, you know, we saw that they like the bot lane dominance. They want that Varus priority here because it answers a plethora of things. But thinking of that early is giving Psycho the Jhin. And Jhin is one of the champions who can match into that Varus range-wise as well. And a lot of it will come down to jungle pressure when you've got yourself a Jhin in that bot lane. And speaking of jungle here, McDowie, we did say he wanted Aaron and something, you know, a bit more agency, maybe take the graves for himself. Looks like he's done precisely that.
There we go. Aaron getting on to potential carry champion. Very exciting to see after seeing his performance throughout the regular season a little bit. I mean, massive performances on the likes of Vi, of Olaf, and maybe we'll have to see how the Graves does, but Cry now. This was one of his favorite champions, RMC, from the summer, and now Wild West Bandits potentially gonna narrow the mid pool down after getting this power pick locked in.
Yeah, and to a certain extent, actually, I feel like we're almost seeing flip drops compared to game one a little bit. The fact that Maokai Graves on one side and Wild West Bandits, they're picking themselves, a pretty strong team fight composition here already. All three of these champions really strong into that pool.
And now
Does Kachu play the Echo? I mean, I feel like Krydal plays a bunch of assassins, so that's
funny.
like one of the reasons why you kind of have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But hey, Krydal just doesn't want to risk having to deal with
Right,
that.
he doesn't want to
CB
taste of
Gaming.
his own medicine.
Yeah, CB Gaming still looking for potentially mid and either support or top here to come through. I actually suspect that might be a Maokai support here because I think they want to leave Lucky counter pick for Pulse.
Well, support band coming through on the side of CB Gaming. Plux, huge champion pool, so it's going to be tough to kind of limit his ability. I'm going to go ahead. Well, actually, I don't want to speak too soon. We'll see how the draft unfolds. Mac predictions don't always go my way, so I don't want to jinx it at all, but Brahma Mumu going to find their way onto the ban sheet, and now the Wild West Bandits in a very interesting position. Do they pick one of the solo laners here? Do they think it's Maokai? Maybe they do.
Wow.
Camille for Pulse is the champion choice.
Okay, this is actually super interesting because generally we actually see solo laners pick last, right? When you can confirm where everything's going, you get yourself a massive counter pick. And supports usually the value is kind of high, but not that high. But it says a lot that Wild West Bandits are saying that we're going to save counter pick for Plux. We want our bot lane to crush and to win. And even with the Braum ban, even with the Amumu bans, there's still so many other supports that can do similar things. Leona is still on the table. Nato is on the table if you want to engage. If you're looking for defense, Tom Kench is still up there. Renata is still in there. And for CB Gaming here, they picked the Syndra. If they go with the Thresh here, oh, even spicier? Do it.
Leave me alone, Hyper. I'm not commenting on your hovers. There it is, Alistar. Something completely unrelated to what he was hovering. Now Pluck's gonna be able to counter this Alistar. Gonna be pretty tricky, as Alistar, tough support to deal with, can really kind of bull his way through a lot of other support picks.
Well, before he hits level 6, he ain't bull, he's just beef. He's actually really, really squishy. So if you actually pick an engage support into him, you have to run the lane pre-6 here. Instead, they go for the Renata, and I think the Renata is a perfectly fine pick. You know, we mentioned it. If you want a defensive support for your composition, Renata's queen right now here for them. Interesting enough for CB Gaming, though, we should note this. I was assuming it would be the Graves for Aaron. I am very sad it's not. Like, I think Lucky's going to pilot this Graves perfectly fine. We saw Lucky do really well in Game 1.
Yep.
But having Aaron not on Graves does limit, to a certain extent, the playmaking he can do. Yeah, Maokai's a great ganker, but he's not going to be able to solo out somebody or really initiate a lot of these dives the same way a Graves could.
Well, something that I think is really valuable for CB Gaming, and we didn't see this a lot on the Udyr because Erwin went Ghost, but I wonder if we'll see some really aggressive flash routes from the Maokai, like flash point and click CC. Mwah! So nice to gank with, and so despite being on the Maokai, Aaron not only does have, I think, more gank potential on this pick, he also can control the map a lot better with the saplings. And with YHL on a tank pick as well, I think the jungle macro is going to be really important here in Game 2.
Yeah, and I think it's coming down a lot to lanes here, Marjorie, because CB Gaming, we had said before, Aaron excels when his lanes have priority, when he can play very aggressively, and this time I do think they have that. You've got that Graves early into the Camille, ranged into melee, and Camille does need a bit of time to skill up, usually first Mythic. Your bot side, you know, with the Jhin, you're able to play aggressively. I actually want to see pressure point to that mid lane ASAP, because if Jhin wins out that lane, he continues to win the lane. But if Vera starts to win it, then, well, you know, it's a very delicate lane, and whoever gets a hit tends to stay ahead here. Mid side, point and click CC, plus the Syndra long range engage. I think Aaron's being set up for success, or well, he's being set up to help his team succeed as a whole here. Because you're a Maokai, you're not going to be the carry for the team. Wild West Bandits, on the other hand, like we said, shoes on the other foot. They've got a lot of scaling now. They've got Azir, they've got Camille. These guys don't pop off that early. They do take time to become monsters, and well, we're gonna have to see this game if the Bandits can pull off what CB Gaming couldn't.
A very different matchup here in game number 2 as the Wild West Bandits look to roll through CB Gaming and move on into the next round. They want to send them to the losers bracket, RMC, and sitting on match point, they got to be feeling good after that first match. But looking at the Bandits champions, as we were discussing during the draft, and something that I want to bring up as I thought it was really impactful in game number 1. Plux's ability to roam is something I'm going to be keeping a close eye on.
Yeah, especially on a champion like Renata as well, right? That's not your typical engage support, but
Yeah.
she does actually roam really, really well. And her long range, the handshake as an engage or disengage too can be critical. So 100% with you there. I definitely want to watch where Plux is going. I want to watch how Maudad moves as well here, whether he's going to be able to have impact on the other lanes. The last game, Plux felt like he was always 1 or 2 steps ahead in all of these roams. But with Alistar, I mean, Alistar roaming can be very potent as well.
And I do want to point out, I feel like throughout these UPL streams, RMC, we have been getting true league gentlemen's, as skin selection has been on point, and Maudad rocking the definitely not Alistar skin here. For more cowbell, of course, as the Bandits ever aggressive in this bot lane. The double range going to be very tough for CB to kind of work through, especially at level 1.
Yeah, and we're seeing, that what was Bandits, they don't want to give any quarters. Well, Plux tanking up all the damage here. So Johns has a bit of a health advantage here. And you can see how much damage Maudad is taking. Remember when I said Alistar pre-6, beef, not bull? Like, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
He's getting cooked.
Already down to less than half health.
Meanwhile, Cry now enjoying the Azir side of the Azir mid matchups, as dealing quite a bit of damage, already burning a pot of Kachu. As we get Hyper's commentary as well. We'd love to hear from him on the
Hey, what's
stream.
wrong with Pugmore? What's wrong with Pugmore? It's cute.
Oh goodness,
That's right. Don't answer Hyper. That's right. Yeah, I'm taking advantage of the fact that he actually has to type it up. Potential gank into the bot lane though.
Erwin, we wanted to see him more aggressive. The flash route onto Plux, catching the support by surprise, but it's JJ picking up first blood. The Bandits steal away a kill.
Yeah, CB Gaming the one to actually look for the gank. It doesn't matter, and to a certain extent, actually, this is why I'm not a fan of the Maokai jungle for Aaron specifically. There,
Yep.
The audio attack of Pugmore. Okay, I gonna be honest. I play with really low sound in League, so I actually don't know what Pugmore sounds like. Just what he looks like.
So have you ever heard of a dog coughing up? Like, have you? Do you?
Balls, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much that.
Is it like that?
Yeah. It's,
Oh.
Isn't that just great? Isn't that what you want to hear for every auto attack?
That's when you just play on mute and have music running.
Yeah. Let's see if
Psycho?
Plux can land the CC. Oh, Psycho able to dodge.
Can they dive
And
this
the
actually?
pause.
Unfortunate there, Mac. It looks like there was a play about to develop bot side, but we'll have to stop for now. And I guess that allows us to go back to the most important question, McDewey. Pugmore cough sounds or hacking sounds, A or nay? But is it different from his usual? I mean, he makes it sound in any skin, no?
Yeah, but this is like extra bad RMC. It's not
Okay.
great. But
Fair
10
enough.
out of 10
I'm not a skin
cuteness.
expert.
I am a huge I'm a huge dog lover. I have a little Chihuahua at home. I'm missing him right now. I think I get to see him next week. So for that,
Oh,
I love
nice.
the skin, but the sound's not ideal.
Fair enough there. I mean, Cowbell definitely sounds better. I'll give you that much there. Yeah, so unfortunately, yeah, we are into a bit of a technical pause. We do not have word on what is causing it. But for now, what was Bandits? Oh, so, okay, we just got an update. Apparently there was some lag for some players, so they're just trying to get that fixed before we get into it. Yes, lag. That's why What Was Bandits got first blood, right? No. What Was Bandits, they played that really well. And the bot side, we've been looking at the bot lane this entire time, actually, because that's where all the action is. And I had called for early ganks to come through from either of these teams because of how volatile it can go. And because What Was Bandits found the first blood here, I'm worried for first back. We're already seeing their bot lane start to take over here. JJ and Plux doing an incredible job. If they do have a lead on that first back coming through, CB Gaming are going to struggle to be able to do anything to them. And you know what? If Aaron can't find a gank, an unanswered gank by YH onto that bot side here, we might see a repeat a bit of game 1.
And building on that point, RMC, I feel like it's especially worrisome for CB Gaming because of the Alistar support pick. While you can get creative with potential engages, it's going to be challenging, right? Especially in this kind of competitive environment, you don't have as many, I feel like, surprise bot lane fights with engage supports. You have to be really precise with how you use, especially with the headbutt pulverize, wanting to execute that right and set it up properly. It's going to be tricky even just doing that to begin with, and then you're dealing with the zoning capabilities of Renata Varus. It's going to be challenging, I think, to say the least, for CB Gaming. But oh my goodness, Aron ganking the bot lane early is something that we like to see, and maybe YHL and Aron will kind of have a tussle in the bot lane here. I think I saw the Sejuani roaming down before the pause.
Yeah, there was a play developing bot side, so it was, have to see how that one kind of goes. And I don't think it's going to be answered this time, so we're probably not going to see the tussle between the junglers. Now, Madu, I want to go back to something else you had mentioned, about that Alistar, the difficulty he has in setting up plays. Now, one of the big reasons why we don't see Alistar, as compared to a lot of engaged supports, is because of the fact that he has to put his body into harm's way, and the headbutt CC, you only have one CC. It's used to get you into pulverized combo. Now, we are back into game. It looks like nobody died. Did anybody die?
Nobody died.
I think nobody died. Right, so okay, we're good for now. Somebody might die soon, though.
As we do see the Maokai.
The stream dies.
Hex Flash over the wall. Pluck's gonna try to back off here. The root there on to JJ. The headbutt pulverize.
Okay.
That is... Oh, bailout. JJ still staying alive, hanging on, gets the kill. JJ isn't able to walk away, just barely gets taken down. Kachu, the Syndra from mid lane, roaming down as well. Crynow does have teleport if he wants to join. Is going to use that TP mid as YHL and Plux are handling business. These supports know how to play, but the double stun coming in from the Scatter of the Weak is huge. Kachu trying to slow things down. The Deadly Flourish going to connect, but there's a huge bailout. Is he going to be able to find something? No, YHL gets taken back to base. Plux falls as well as CB Gaming turn things around in the bot lane.
I was on the edge of my seat the entire fight, and Crynow actually TP'd into mid lane.
Yep,
I think Wildwest Bandits thought that, hey, we got this, and they got a little bit too greedy there. Now Crynow in a 1v3.
Can Crynow make this one work? Trying to flash to pick up the kill onto Kachu.
Yes,
there it goes. But an answer back from Psycho on a killing spree. CB Gaming up quite a bit of gold. 3 kills onto the Jhin. Exactly where they want it.
Oh, the action don't stop here. John's 1v1ing against Aaron here. Should be fine, taking a bunch of damage. And McDewey, can you count to 4? Because Psycho can. 4 shots, 4 kills in the bot lane, popping off there to try and equalize things.
Meanwhile, YHL moving up into the top lane. There's the ultimate coming out from Pulse. Lucky stuck with nowhere really left to run. Gonna try to flash on out of here, but I don't see a way out of here. That's gonna be a kill going over to Pulse. Huge for the Camille to try to get an edge in the solo 1v1 matchup.
Not lucky, Mac. Not lucky. Very not lucky for Lucky there, unfortunately. But you kind of could have seen it coming. You're kind of pushed up here, and Paul's doing a great job stopping Lucky from backing as well there, kind of holding him in lane. So Wildwest Bandits able to answer back topside, and when all said and done here, the teams are pretty much dead even. After all the trading here, the gold is even. So it's the objectives that matter, and I love that CB Gaming have set their eyes on this Dragon first. There's nothing Wildwest Bandits can do to answer.
Yep, the back timing kind of awkward. JJ just walking back from base, and look at the saplings. You got 2 in that top river bush, I believe, maybe just 1, and then a second one in the main river bush, so that's just so tough to try and walk into. The Wild Bandits, they're just gonna give that one up. In CB Gaming, first objective, second objective of the series, but they get the first one here in match 2, trying to answer back.
Yeah, probably the best first Drake to take as well. Ocean gives you that regeneration in lane when you're most likely gonna need it. Bot side, we're seeing a little bit of trading, and I do want to highlight that the fact that CB Gaming got 3 of their kills onto Psycho. We'd said bot side was delicate and how it can kind of bounce back and forth. And Psycho got the edge here with the pickaxe, with the double longswords onto JJ. So Wild West Bandits have to be careful about all-ins from the bot side. They might win poke fights, but if they commit to this and Psycho gets the auto attack, CB Gaming should come out ahead.
YHL is on the bottom side of the map right now, but Plux and JJ just gonna shove the wave in back off. They do clear the control ward in the bush and get some overall control down in the bottom side of the map, clearing out the tri-brush. They've got really easy gank setup, RMC, between the Chain of Corruption and Glacial Prison. It seems like a perfect 1-2 combo to kind of throw down there onto a squishy ADC, but they're looking to cook up some beef tonight as Maudad is deleted.
Or a squishy support, who still not yet level 6, still not yet a bull. You just kind of tenderize them, skewer them. Nice easy kill into the bot side. CB Gaming, though, they're not going out without a fight. They're answering back. I love the objective focus coming through from them here. They go for the dragons. They go for the heralds. Now, Psycho has to be careful because he's alone in a 1v4.
Oh my goodness. Not where you want to be. No teleports available for CB Gaming, but Maudad has come in as well. No other rotations. It's just the bot lane down here. Cry now. Looking easy setup there onto Psycho. Getting the shutdown onto the Azir is ideal as CB Gaming lose their ADC. Rift Herald not maybe going to be used in the mid lane here. A really solid response.
Yeah, they're just trying to maximize plates here, and I don't know if Wild West Bandits can really stop them. Plux is really low on health, JJ is low on mana, so... And unfortunately for Cry now, TP was burnt earlier, so are they... Surely they're not going to get first turret off of this?
Let's see, Cry now with no teleport is trying to run back as fast as he can. Turret, the sun's getting real low, RMC.
Oh,
but the turret is going to survive. Meanwhile, we've got potential engage. Glacial Prison coming in with the Berserk from Plux, forcing CB Gaming against each other, but not enough to finish off Aaron whatsoever. Wild West Bandits, they try to look for the skirmish in the mid lane, come up a little short.
And like we mentioned, you know, Plux a little bit too low on health to really fully commit to that. We saw the curtain call come out. They were just kind of fishing a little bit, seeing if we can find anybody low on health. Wasn't able to find Plux, and I think that was the target they were going for. So CB Gaming, they get away with murder pretty much here.
Plux? Oh no! Oh, that's not where you want to be. Very low, but JJ's trying to zone away Psycho. Chain of Corruption coming out. JJ's gonna try and find it, and what? Plux survives and is going to be able to walk away from that one, RMC. The Root coming in with the Deadly Flourish is finally going to be able to finish off the Wild West Bandit support. Dashing in, Cry now, able to finish off Aaron. Now it's a 2v2 mid laners versus ADC. A fight in the river. A fight to the death. Who's going to come out on top? Unleash Power coming out. The Emperor's Divide. The Root. This Psycho picking up the first kill onto JJ. Kachu taken down by YHL. Maudad has come out. The fight to the death in the river results in a 1-for-1.
Oh my goodness, here. I thought it was just going to be like a quick showdown the bot side, but people kept piling in. I just have this image in my head of like an old Western, you know, there's like two guys dueling, and then the next guy keeps walking up every time he kills somebody. Maudad going for Cry now, not able to find it. But at the end of the day there, I think Wild West Bandits came out ahead barely with that trade, and Plux. We saw the flash or the hop over the wall from the blast cone, and we're like, what Plux are you doing? But Plux was baiting everybody. There was the heal from JJ. There was the bailout onto Plux as well. So they were very, very confident Plux wouldn't die to that initial engage. Now, Plux did die eventually, but it took so much more effort from CB Gaming than they originally expected.
Yep. Meanwhile, RMC, the next dragon going to be spawning up here in about 15 seconds. Bot lane priority potentially in the favor of the Bandits as JJ's trying to push in the wave right now. Plux has found Maudad. That Alistar still not a full bull right now. RMC has to back away before getting blown up. No ultimates used there by the Bandits to try and look for the pick. They're saving it potentially for the big fight to come.
Maudad finally level 6 now. It took 12 minutes, Macdui. But here we are. The problem is he's kind of low on health. Hostile takeover, not able to find anybody. That's a big out down.
And big roots coming in. The Chain of Corruption slowing down the tree, and Aaron gets chopped down there as the Bandits pick up the jungler.
I feel like I'm always watching chess here with how they're it's like move and counter move. Hostile takeover misses. Okay, we answer with the Maokai ultimate here to try and do that. Okay, we catch somebody. Oh, twist, the Chains of Corruption comes back out and it just keeps going back and forth. Pluck's getting caught again. Has Bill out.
Is that gonna be enough? Yes! Pluck's bailed out once again! Maudad using the ultimate here. The bull has arrived, but the bull is sent out to the pasture as it's a 2-0 with Pulse making a roam into the mid lane. Kachu, no flash, nowhere to run. Cry now on a killing spree as the summer 2022 runner-ups are looking fantastic here in game number 2.
Well, Mac, they might have drafted themselves a later skill in composition, but they're still playing the early game immaculately here from the Wild West Bandits. And for CB Gaming, you know what? They followed the game plan I put out. Focus on that bot side. They were trying to get them a hit. Psycho did get a hit, but now it's kind of slipping a little bit here. Wild West Bandits is just doing more with less resources. Sure, Pulse is losing out the top lane again, but he's helping Crynow get a hit. Crynow's finding kills as well, and John Shawns is up a whole bunch of CS as well. So Wild West Bandits, they're in a very similar position as to where they were in game 1 at 50 minutes.
And that is a lot of gold ahead for them, you know? That's their usual position. I feel like that's a good spot to be. Hey, we are where we were last game, up at close to the 15-minute mark, up 3K here at 14 minutes with that mid lane turret still standing strong. I don't know, I think Pluck's in that last little fight was able to interrupt the Alistar engage with the Renata handshake. Did you happen to catch that, RMC?
I did not, but it is an interaction. Handshake can pull Alistar out of a hitbutt there. So I wouldn't be surprised if it did happen. And Plux has been playing incredibly well this game. Like we said, you know, even the chess moves using the hostile takeover to bait out the engage. We've seen the bailout be used to perfection there. Even the dive forward as well from JJ to be able to maximize that. So it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever.
Psycho, beautiful cleanse. The Emperor's Divide misses. The CB ADC pulls out the curtain call, and it's time to fire away onto the Bandits. That's one kill. Shut down going over to Kachu. Plucks the next to fall. Collateral damage from Lucky for the shutdown as CB Gaming answer back. But look at JJ in the bot lane.
Yep. Bandits kind of got baited a little bit. JJ wasn't there. He's that strong point for the team here. They thought they found themselves a pick. Oh, where is it? Oh.
Let's see, RMC. Lucky has roamed down into the bot lane. It's YHL and JJ. JJ looking past lethal tempo, but the scouting of the week comes in. Shutdown goes over to Kachu. The honorable 1v1 gunslinging was interrupted by the CB mid laner. And on the other side of the map, RMC, CB Gaming pick up Rift Herald.
I mean, that's bandit behavior right there, bringing an extra person to an honorable duel. JJ was actually winning that against Lucky, which is terrifying if you're the side of CB Gaming. But it's League of Legends, not a duel. So it's a 5-person game. CB Gaming rotated quicker here. They also picked up Herald while that was happening. So CB Gaming winning out of multiple sides of the map. It's worth noting the Bandits did get the inner turret, though. So they are still ahead in gold for now. They didn't lose out too much here. And I'm actually kind of scared about that inner turret falling here, Mac, because that means JJ is about to be unleashed onto the rest of the Rift.
Just like we saw in game number 1, the Bandits move around the map like pros, and we see JJ head up into the top side of the map. Lucky has to be very careful about watching the other members of the Bandits on the map, because when he's pushing up like this, it is a very far stretch from where he's at right now to any sort of CB Gaming safe territory. But with all 5 members of the squad on this side of the map, I think he's feeling okay right now. His Pulse might be the one in trouble.
Yeah, I was going to say, Pulse is the one better watch himself a little bit here. They have no vision of anybody from CB Gaming, and there have to be alarm bells going off. They have wards on the top half of the map, so they know CB Gaming's not there. Now, Herald finally dropped here, but this is an answer on turrets. Bandits took the first turret on that top side here, and they're still pushing.
And they're going to keep on pushing. Plucks going for the recall. Cry Now and YHL have roamed down into the bot lane to try to help out push. Pulse, excuse me, waiting in the bush. teleport from Kachu headed down into the bot lane. Rift Herald has been destroyed. It's 5 members of CB Gaming picking up that inner turret, but JJ able to answer back. The Bandits are trading beautifully. CB Gaming were the ones who used Rift Herald, but look at the headbutt pulverize. Shurima shuffle out of there, flashing to dodge the Maokai ultimate. Cry Now wanted out of there as the curtain call is going to, unfortunately, miss its audience.
Yeah, Cry Now was just about to live up to his name there. I mean, caught backing in such a dangerous position. Little bit disrespectful from Cry Now. Burns the flash, gets out, but it won't be available for that next fight. And Mac, the fights are actually closer than the game feels right now. CB Gaming, they've been able to find the picks they need to stay into the game. Now, JJ did manage to answer topside, and it was a full commit from CB Gaming plus Herald to match what the Bandits were able to do. But that's fine as far as CB Gaming is concerned. Again, if you're behind, you take these trades. What's more important is how this dragon fight plays out. Quite a few ults are still down,
including the Emperor's Divide. That means Maudad has a window of opportunity to try to engage, but Cry Now able to shuffle on out of there. Big ultimate coming out of Plux. The dragon is secured by the Bandits. They get exactly what they were looking for. Now Plux has to be careful with this rotation on over into the mid lane. Is struggling to get into the bush there, but finally takes down that Scryer's orb. CP Gaming back off of the mid lane after the dragon goes the way of the Bandits.
Yeah, CB Gaming, I was a little bit surprised they didn't try and contest the dragon there, but I do appreciate what they tried to do. They thought they found the pick onto Cry Now, who, as you mentioned, didn't have Emperor's Divide, didn't have Flash. Should have been an easy kill there. Cry Now just barely getting out, and that's between them and Plux as well. And the inside, or the prio onto that mid lane turret was the other thing that CB Gaming got with that. Unfortunately, they weren't able to materialize it here.
Oh goodness,
He's got Plux in his back pocket.
I was scared there for a moment, RMC.
They were thinking about it. They were thinking about it. But yeah, they didn't. I don't think they had enough damage, unfortunately, with who they had there to be able to burst them out. It's worth noting JJ actually went with Immortal Shield Bow, so he has that lifeline as well. He's not as squishy as he appears, and he has the heal as well.
More than meets the eye for JJ's survivability in this composition. Right now, the Bandits at the 20-minute mark, only 2,000 gold ahead. A much, much closer game here, but something that really impressed me in game number 1 was the way the Bandits roamed around the map and looked for objectives. And in game number 1, despite the Bandits being very far ahead throughout the early game, CB Gaming still gave them a bit of a tough time throughout some of those mid-game fights. Now here in the second match, the Bandits have even less wiggle room and room for error here.
Yeah, the nice thing for the Bandits, though, is that they do have scaling on their side with the Azir, with the Camille here. So they're okay playing it slower, and they're fine with the lead that they have amassed. Now, whether or not they can continue their really clean rotations that we saw from game 1 is still going to be a very, very big question. And I've got questions of CB Gaming as well, because they're doing better here in game 2, but they aren't really out-rotating Bandits too well just yet. And I want to see them be able to do that. They do have some skill on their side with that Syndra, who, you know, now that she's been reworked, does scale much better than she used to. But Kachu here, I mean, 2, 3, and 5, that's one of the higher KPs on the team. And I feel like it has to be on Kachu to really make things happen come the mid-game.
Yeah, I do want to point out, quietly creeping up into a big performance is Lucky on this Graves with over 10 CS per minute. He's at 235 right now and is an entire item above Pulse. So I honestly, I mean, it's pretty close, I think, to begin with between the Camille and Graves in a 1v1 at this point in the game. Lucky, still in game number 1, did a really solid job maintaining a little bit of an advantage in the side lane. Now with another one here in game 2 in a closer match, I wonder, RMC, if Lucky is going to have that carry impact we know he can have.
Yeah, or whether you have the split push impact. When Graves was building Hullbreaker, you know, back in spring here, even without the Hullbreaker build, Graves is still really, really fast and good at split pushing here. And the other thing to note is Pulse is not on Maokai this time. You actually need the gold as the Camille. If you are behind, like you mentioned, you can't take that 1v1. You can't handle the split push from the Graves, and you don't have the utility that you had last game.
Yeah. Yep, we did see Pulse earlier on in the game try and make some picks with the ultimate in the hook shot. Now rotating on into the top lane, we have about 60 seconds before the next dragon. Knight's Vow picked up there for Pluck's big second item to help. JJ, once again, more than meets the eye with the Varus's survivability here on the map. Only 1,000 gold separating these teams. RMC, this match, pretty much all we could ask for. It is pretty much dead even between these two teams.
Yeah, considering we haven't seen action in the last 5 minutes here, Mac, it's going to come down to that one big team fight and how the teams want to operate. So let's look a little bit at how these teams want to approach the team fights. For what was Bandits, we touched on it in draft, front to back. Clear as day. That's just how they want to play it with the Varus, with the Azir, with the range advantage. And maybe Pulse looking on the flank. But CB Gaming don't want to play front to back. They are looking for picks here. And I want to see Curtain Call actually being used to initiate a fight, followed up by that Syndra here. I don't know how many shards she has just yet, but I'm pretty sure she should be getting to the point where she gets the execute soon if she doesn't already have it.
Yep. Meanwhile, Pulse teleporting to match Lucky in this mid lane. RMC, get ready, because I think we're going to have a big 5v5 fight for this 4th dragon of the game. CB Gaming does not want to give the Bandits soul point.
Yeah. Gale Force already blown by Psycho there. Bandits using that turret to get easy access into the river. Turret has gone down. Now the engage comes out.
Glacial Prison misses. Curtain Call comes out. JJ getting real low. Body blocks come in. The Jhin trying to fire. JJ quite low, but look at the front line for CB Gaming and Kachu as well. Forced to back away. Pulse still full health. Cry now. Emperor's Divide is available, as well as the Camille ultimate. Pulse looking for a flank. Cry now forced away after some big damage. Kachu teleporting back in. The Syndra has arrived into the fight. The Wild West Bandits, low health bars. Dragon goes over to CB Gaming. CB Gaming still looking for the fight, but the Bandits, they get on out of there as the retreat has been initiated.
They are chasing a little bit, and this is where I get worried here. You got the dragon. There's no need to over chase, and sure enough, CB Gaming, they get the spoils of war. They're looking to back up Flux.
Flux does have flash. Not gonna matter. Kachu goes on a killing spree. Teleport coming in. This is Cry now. The Azir caught out Aaron. Teleport comes through. Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Is gonna try to turn this around. The team, the Bandits, they're trying to come to the rescue. Cry now able to buy time for the rest of the team with the stopwatch. And it is a huge fight for the Bandits as they roll in and pick up 3 huge kills. Pulse lunging forward, wanting the kill onto Kachu, but instead they've got a whole lot of DPS on this team between the Varus and the Azir. RMC, Baron is very much an option.
It's kind of risky, but they need to dodge out on those Scatter the Weaks. Cry now is almost dead here. No TP, has to actually go out the back. They're taking a lot of Baron damage, but Baron's going down. 4k health. 3k health.
Oh my goodness, shut down Lucky.
There we
Picking
go.
up 1 kill. Lucky cannot get the steal. Big Flux ultimate coming in. The Berserk, you don't want to hit your own teammates. Shutdowns going over to JJ. RMC, the Bandits come out on top.
Forget Bandits, call him a corporate raider. Plucks with the hostile takeovers over and over this game. All of them have been so critical, and the Bandits just do not give up. Speaking of not giving up, though, Plucks getting caught again.
Flux, yeah, no flash for this one, is gonna be taken down. RMC, to build on the hype you were putting out, my man, I appreciate it. The Wild West Bandits, they get the Baron. Despite losing Dragon, they're gonna get a bit of a gold lead going in their favor. Now up 4,000.
Now, despite all that the Bandits have done, and they deserve, honestly, that series of plays, absolutely nuts from them. You know, the call from Cry now with the team to say, hey, we can win this 4v5, and, you know, the team fight at the Baron here. It's worth noting that they are still struggling to push a little bit into CB Gaming.
Yeah.
CB Gaming have shown that despite your front-to-back composition, we can handle you. We can actually play into you. And the range advantage, the CC that we're seeing come out, the slows from Graves, the knockbacks from the Syndra, Jin's ability to slow you down and immobilize you as well, is giving CB Gaming a lot of space when they're kiting backwards. So the Bandits need to find a better way to find the targets rather than forcing from the front. And I'm looking at Pulse to pop off here. Pulse needs to find ways to lock down Kachu or Psycho. If not, they'll kite you for days.
For days and days on end, RMC. What a match so far. I love that you brought up again the Cry, the absolute mad lad that Cry now is for pulling off that play with what we thought was an errant teleport. Turns out to be the key to the Bandits blowing up this game. Now CB down the rest of their inner turrets. This is going to be the last one, falling in the mid lane. Now we'll have to see. Okay, we see Pulse in the side lane, shoving in, getting pretty much a 4-1 split push here with the rest of the team. They've set up the Azir turret in mid lane, RMC. The siege of CB Gaming begins.
Yeah, they've only got 30 seconds left actually on Baron, so this is kind of like the last push they get here, and I think they're getting a lot of CC in the mid lane.
Maudad looks for the Hex Flash over, hostile takeover comes out, and RMC, you're absolutely right with this last leg of Baron, their last opportunity. Wild West Bandits getting shut down as the crit coming in. That's 3-item Jhin. Rapid Fire Cannon Infinity Edge online, and now comes the curtain call. The performance of a century. Plux is the first to fall next. Scatter the Weak lands onto JJ. They're trying to melt down Kachu. Guardian Angel popped. It is a 1v4 as YHL says, see you later. Shutdown goes over to Psycho and RMC. There's only 30 seconds until the next dragon.
Yeah, and both these teams looking at Soul Point, looking for Soul Point here. It should belong to CB Gaming, and this is the threat that the Bandits have sensed all game long. This is why they were, worried about pushing in. I think they got a little bit over-eager with the Baron buff there. They recognized that, hey, this is our last wave. We need to push this now, and they kind of baited themselves a little bit with that turret behind them, thinking, oh, we've got the safety of the Azir turret. Well, it doesn't do that much damage at this point in the game here. And now you lose out on that, you lose out on Dragon, and CB Gaming are still in it to win it. 2.5k at 30 minutes, pardon me, is not a significant goal lead. You're still within touching distance. Far more important is what dragons you have and whether or not you get soul.
Yeah. Item completions are there for CB Gaming to make this a very close game. Kachu on 3 items, Psycho on 3 items, plus the last Whisper. It's a whole lot of damage coming out of the Jhin. Wild West Bandits, they've got team members roaming up into the top side of the map to try and secure some vision control around Baron, which comes up. They may have a pick, the explosive cone. Finds with the handshake, the Maokai ultimate comes out, teleport from Pulse, Lucky coming in as well. The Bandits find their pick, hookshot on 2, plus the ultimate, knocked out, but YHL looking for the engage, hostile takeover, gonna go wide, watch Psycho in the back line, this Jhin caught out by the Emperor's Divide, gonna flash and go on a rampage, deletes the Azir, now watch JJ getting real low, the curtain call, the performance, the snipes coming in, the 4th shot's gonna miss, but regardless, CB Gaming take over the fight. They get the ace RMC. What a huge victory for them here.
Yeah, and Bandits now for the first time this game, first time this series, are down in terms of kills. CB Gaming hiding it out so well with their composition. Kachu, we got to highlight Kachu a little bit here because Kachu's been the big difference maker in a lot of these fights. Sure, it is, the kills are going over to Psycho here, but Kachu's the one finding the picks, forcing the kills onto Cry now, onto Johns, and constantly kind of threatening from flanking positions. Not something you think of when you think of Syndra, but Kachu's making it happen.
Kachu, just the scatter the weeks that we've been seeing have been out of this world, and now CB Gaming in a much different position here. Very capable of not only contesting this dragon, but forcing Wild West Bandits into a position they really don't want to be. As with their backs up against the wall, CB Gaming, despite being down, have risen to the occasion. We got a big fight, though, here in the jungle. Big Maokai ultimate, but big damage. Cry now in the back line. Full health, firing away. The Bandits have found a huge team fight victory.
Right now? Still has Emperor's Divide.
Oh, teleport looking for the ultimate play. Once again, Cry Now, a big playmaker, looking once again, finds the pick.
Okay, they found Kachu!
Kachu, no chance, does manage to take down the jungler, but does this still lead into Baron? JJ,
What?
he's going for the base. Plucks just stopping the recalls, looking at the death timers. 15 seconds on the Maokai, 20 on Lucky's Graves. Psycho able to recall. Wild West Bandits get an inhibitor.
No shot.
Do they go for the win here? They're wild! This is the Wild West! Welcome to UPL playoffs,
They're
ladies
respawning!
and gentlemen! Nexus turrets are coming up. The Bandits, have they overextended once again? Chilling Smite onto JJ. What were they thinking trying to go for the Nexus turrets? JJ gonna be taken down. The Bandits have extended too far. CB Gaming pings coming down onto Baron.
Yeah, Baron's still up here and losing JJ. JJ's the big team fight damage right now. It's not Cry Now. Cry Now didn't do the Nash's Tooth build, so he's more poke oriented rather than extended team fights here. So without JJ, Bandits don't have a really good shot at pushing CB Gaming off of this Baron here. Pulse, no TP split, pushing on the bot side here. Their only hope, YHL with a steal.
Oh my goodness, a hope and a dream for the Bandits as Cry Now is here as well. The Azir actually starting to melt down the Baron. They're gonna look for it, but they can't! Lucky secures the objective! Bailout not gonna work for YHL. The Bandits, they wanted to gamble. They were feeling lucky, but Lucky is on the side of CB Gaming.
Well, at least the Bandits still managed to trade 1-for-1. It wasn't a complete, utter loss for them, but now they've got to deal with Baron on the other foot. And Baron for Bandits kind of caused them to overstep now. Let's see what CB Gaming can do with it. 30 seconds till Soul is on the table. And Baron's not just good for pushing. It gives you additional damage as well. Additional AP, additional AD. So CB Gaming could just use it to teamfight. They've been winning a lot of these teamfights.
What an exciting playoff matchup between these two teams, CB Gaming and Wild West Bandits here in game number 2, RMC delivering on the hype, delivering on the playoff action that we like to promise viewers here. I'm just so excited that we get this close of a matchup. I'm on the edge of my seat right now as Cry Now starts to clear some of the vision away. YHL a little behind the rest of the team. Same with Aaron. Another 5v5 fight is looking like it's going to happen here around the Dragon, and CB Gaming won the last one.
Yeah, so it might just come down to poke here. Teams have to be very, very patient with the engage. Mid lane's interesting because inhib is down for CB Gaming here. Bandits don't have to respond to the push that they had set up, and Bandits are more than happy to sit here, poke you down with that Varus, and wait a minute and a half for your Baron to run out. Pressures on CB Gaming to find something.
Two things. Top wave pushing in hard into CB Gaming's base a little bit. Not super minions, but still relevant. And the saplings. Aaron has been awesome at kind of limiting Pulse's ability to find an awesome flank. Now we get the pick. Now we get the Zhonya's trying to buy time for the rest of the team. Cry Now gets shut down. It is time for CB Gaming to look for their awesome engage. JJ getting taken down next. It is CB Gaming coming out on top. The GA not going to be able to help whatsoever. Dragon is in their sights next.
YHL just trying to run away here. I mean, for CB Gaming, at this point, Bandits are just trying to stall them as much as possible. TP into the Baron pit. They're trying to flank YHL. He's giving them the rope-a-dope. They don't know.
The little bamboozle, the razzle-dazzle. I think he's out of there.
Maybe? He might be out of danger, but Bandits aren't. There's still 20 seconds before JJ and Pulse come back out. Now, CB Gaming, because all the waves were pushed in, have to reset and push the waves out. But they got Soul. And that's massive, Mektu. We were saying that, you know, whoever gets Soul, that matters more than any gold lead right now in this game. To have gold lead and Soul as well for CB Gaming, maybe finally they can actually push in and take down these inhib turrets. Even if they can't, well, we can just poke you out. 3 minutes, we go for Baron. And if we couldn't do it without Baron, we sure as hell can with.
Absolutely. RMC, what a game. CB Gaming, they get the pick onto Cry Now. Pulse unable to really find a flank position on this Camille, can't have a big impact in that team fight. And I mean, after getting the pick onto Cry Now, it was pretty easy for CB Gaming to clean up the rest of the fight. Now, with about a 4k gold lead, at this point in the game, pretty negligible, but regardless, 11, 3, and 12, Psycho playing like a madman here, full build on the Jhin complete.
Yeah, and Psycho honestly hasn't really been the focus of the Bandits here. They're so focused on getting Kachu, and I kind of respect that. I think Kachu is a big problem, but it's allowing Psycho to free fire, and Psycho does do damage, especially onto the squishies. It really feels like these fights are just coming down to who can put out more burst damage onto the carries. And it's CB Gaming consistently finding Pride now, consistently finding JJ in these fights, whereas Kachu is just so slippery, and Psycho is kind of being ignored. You can't do that anymore. He's full build, for goodness sakes. He's been ripping your team apart here. And for Bandits, their wins have come off flanks. YHL finding the flank in the jungle onto that backline. If they can't do it again, if Pulse can't do it, if YHL can't do it, then I think the Bandits, they're looking themselves a game 3.
And RMC, you mentioned which team's going to be able to do more burst. Well, I think having 3 Infernal Dragons is going to be able to help with that. Meanwhile, Psycho goes godlike, takes down the Varus. That's another pick going. CB Gaming, they have opened the gates here of the Wild West Bandits base. Plucks the next to fall here as the damage dealers will wipe Plucks off of the map. Cry now in YHL. The only hopes now for the Wild West Bandits as they tried to hold the base, but with Infernal Soul up, CB Gaming, the final curtain call, the ending to a fantastic comeback match. CB have evened up the series.
Well, Mac, it's like the good old Westerns. The good guys always win, right? The Cowboys coming back. But hey, we've got ourselves a sequel. There is still a game 3, Mac, and we don't know who's going to win that one. Both these teams have shown incredible skill in executing their compositions, and CB Gaming, I am so glad that we got to see them in proper form, because game 1 did not feel like what I was expecting from these names, from Psycho, from Aaron, and I felt really bad for Lucky because he was dominating his lane. This game, they do so much better as a whole, and we also now get to see the Bandits have to adapt, because they didn't change up their bans. They didn't have to. Now you do.
You definitely do. A huge Maokai performance from Aaron. Psycho in the bot lane in particular. It got so chaotic down there. We really weren't expecting that much chaos, but Psycho managed to thrive through it, picking up those 3 early kills. And despite JJ and Plucks making big plays for their team respectively, it was, I think honestly, CB Gaming able to control the flow of the map a little bit better, get Wild West Bandits where they wanted them, and just the team fight execution was phenomenal, especially around those dragons.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it also just came down to the fact that, like you said, they controlled the fights, and Wild West Bandits never actually got the front to back that they really wanted to do. Syndra's able to just cut through your entire line, right? She doesn't care if you've got a front. She'll reach your back anyways. Her skills just go right through. Similarly, Jhin as well with that bouncing, the dancing grenades was able to actually reach the back line. I think that made a big difference. Other thing though, McDewey, early game. It feels like whoever's got the sort of earlier games, or the mid-game spike, pardon me, not really early game, but the mid-game. Whichever team is better at fighting at that point seems to be able to snowball and run away with that. So if anything, for this game 3, I'm wondering if we start seeing both teams draft towards massive mid-game team fights here. Forget scaling, that goes out the window. Doesn't matter if you're too far behind by that point.
Yeah, really interesting. RMC. Whew! We saw just how well CB Gaming was able to adapt to what Wild West Bandits was giving them. The Graves in the top, Maokai in the jungle for Aaron, super impactful throughout the game, and Kachu absolutely turning things around in the mid lane. Had a quiet game on the Azir, balled out in game 2 on the Syndra. That's gonna do it for us. Before game number 3, we're gonna hop into a quick break. Don't click out of that browser. We'll be right back with the final deciding match between CB Gaming and Wild West Bandits. You won't want to miss it. We'll be right back. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Unified live stream where we are rolling into a do or die survival match here in the fall 2022 upper bracket playoffs round number 1 RMC. We are going to game number 3 between CB Gaming and Wild West Bandits. CB Gaming able to answer back in a grueling almost 40-minute match. They're able to come out on top and force us into this final match of the night.
Yeah, and with how the last game went there, Mac, we almost hit 2 kills a minute here. So rather than do or die, it felt like a die or die situation. Yeah, kind of. That's it. Like time was flowing there. But yeah, very, very active between these two teams. And in this game 3, it's basically down to a best of 1. Winner takes all. And I'm honestly not sure what Wild West Bandits can do in draft. I don't think it's a draft issue. It felt like, to a certain extent, CB Gaming hands checked them. It wasn't that they got countered in draft necessarily. It was just that CB Gaming executed a little bit better here.
Yeah.
And when I'm looking at what bans came out, Olaf, Kindred, LeBlanc, Echo, Akali, I don't know what you switch up. Maybe you open up the Akali, ban out the Syndra, but then you've still got an Akali to deal with, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't think you can change the bans very much for Bandits here.
Yeah, I think you bring up a really good point, RMC, that we're not looking at so much as a draft gap, I think, between these two teams. I think they drafted for really how they wanted to play. It looked like both teams across the board were pretty comfortable on the champions that they were on. An interesting shift that we saw from the Bandits really was placing Pulse on the Camille versus, I mean, the Sejuani was right there, but you get Camille red 5, you send YHL onto the Sejuani pick, and you put Pulse in this position where he has to make some really high caliber plays and flanks against a Maokai, against a Syndra, against an Alistar trying to headbutt you away. Like, Pulse was really not in a position to really succeed there, and I think I want to look for how the Bandits, I think, as we've heard so far, it's the same sides as the previous 2 matches, and so are the Wild West Bandits going to be able to adjust for their top laner? Because we saw how well Pulse can play weak side. Maybe you just put him on that again.
Yeah, I mean, things like Ornn are still open, even if the Maokai gets taken away.
Yeah.
You can go Sion, Shen. There are plenty of other picks available, and to me what was intriguing as well is the fact that the Bandits opted to kind of blind their top laner. I mean, the Graves was picked before that, but because they picked the Camille on R4 instead of R5, they didn't know for sure who was going up to the top lane. Heck, for that matter, even after they showed everything, I still thought it was going to be a Maokai top and Graves for Aeron in the jungle there. But yeah, I don't know if you want to do that again, or whether you save it for R5. I feel like you could have blinded the Renata, and that would have been okay. You know exactly what you're doing, and besides, what are they going to punish you with? Like a Lux, a Morgana? I don't know if that's something CB Gaming has practiced before. Any sort of engaged support would have been fine with the Renata. So to me, if there is a change up, that's kind of where I'm looking for, is maybe keep last pick for one of your solo lanes, you know, whether it be mid for Kachu, or not Kachu, pardon me, mid for, I can't get his name right now, the Crynow, pardon me. Yeah, whether you want to blind for, give Crynow counter pick, because he did have a pretty good time in game 1 when he did get counter pick, or they want to save it for Pulse, try and get him a better lane where he doesn't fall down too deep into a hole.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Draft. We've got the Game 3 music going. Put it straight into my veins, Hyper. I'm ready to go here for this final match. Which of these 2 teams is going to be set down into the lower bracket? Maybe this is all what the Wild Bandits want secretly, RMC. They're maybe looking for that lower bracket buff. Secret dark horse strategy, maybe, but regardless. Alawi is par for the course. Pulse not getting one of his big comfort champions.
Yeah, we've seen the Alawi banned all 3 games here. I guess it's kind of worked because Pulse has been struggling in that top lane. His sole Alawi performance so far in the regular season didn't exactly inspire confidence in me, but CB Gaming has done their homework and perhaps they know better. What I'm much more interested in seeing is whether we see the Draven ban come through from CB Gaming again.
Yeah.
Because that came out of nowhere for me. And hey, like, I guess they don't need to change anything, right? You won game 2. Is there a need to change up your bans? Not really. So maybe we see the Draven ban, or maybe we see the Zed ban that we saw in game 1.
Yeah, very interesting. The Wild West Bandits, they took game 1 pretty handily, dominating the early game. They had to go up and down a few hills in the mid game, I feel like, but for the most part, it was a pretty strong and consistent performance for them, especially in terms of how they moved around the map. RMC, my big want for game number 3, put Plux back on a serious engaged support and get Plux roaming all over the map with YHL. That's my big hope as a blue side Maokai ban. CB Gaming knocked down the tree early.
Yeah, that was what I was kind of like a bit surprised at, because CB Gaming has first pick, and they first picked the Maokai here, but they decided, no, not this time. And that fills me with hope that maybe we see a Graves first pick come through for Aeron again, because sure, Maokai, Aeron did great on the Maokai, but still not a lot of agency, and we saw him struggle a little bit with it in the early game there. Give Aeron an early game carry, man. That's what I want to see.
Well, would you consider his Maokai an early game carry with the way he was playing it?
No.
He was carrying that bot lane a little bit, but the Aatrox that I was talking about before, RMC,
okay.
I'm not crazy. It comes through. Lucky, who's been having an awesome series so far for CB Gaming, gets a huge top lane power pick.
Yeah, and it's the first time it's been opened. It's actually been banned by CB Gaming this entire time here. So it feels like they've kind of gone, okay, whatever we thought were the high prio picks, we banned the Maokai ourselves. We don't care about the Azir as much. We'll happily take the Aatrox this time. Now, Aatrox is not the end-all be-all. The reason why he's really strong is because in team fights it's hard to play melees into him. But in lane, he can potentially be shut down. And Aatrox is not a flex pick either. So now the Bandits have a chance to actually counter pick early into that top side, and I wonder if I was gonna say, I wonder if they're just gonna match up Sejuani and say that we can't win this, or no, they're doubling down. They're saying, okay, we know Pulse has been struggling. We really want Pulse to be able to win this one.
RMC, I am eating this draft up because it is tasty, my man. Jax, then Blitzcrank. Game 3 UPL at its finest, I say, as Pulse maybe makes us eat our words here with a big carry pick for the top lane. And I'm gonna hold my breath here. Okay, Aphelios, Hyper Clay, it wasn't Hyper who got our hopes up there, so we can't blame Hyper this time around. But Aphelios, super strong ADC right now, gonna get locked in, and RMC, I wonder, is this gonna force the Draven?
Oh! Let's go!
Oh my god, what a game 3!
Okay, I love Draven. I'm a big fan of Brazilian League of Legends, and because of that, I'm also a big fan of Draven here. So I guess, yeah, the Draven was actually homework done. I did not expect to see it here, but they did. JJ is going to pick it up here. And this game has completely changed, Mac, because the moment you see a Draven, it's less about your team composition and more about how your early game goes. If Draven smashes,
right.
Who cares about composition? He's going to run everybody over. And for CB Gaming here, it's interesting to me they actually banned the Renata, because I don't care about Renata when I see a Draven. I'm worried about Leona. I'm worried about Nautilus. I'm worried about things that will enable. If you're worried about support, Lulu, Nami, that's a lot scarier than Renata.
Yeah. I wonder, honestly, RMC, we saw CB Gaming ban 2 supports in game number 1. Didn't really affect Plux too much. I wonder if this was just a scenario where they're like, hey, the hostile takeovers can take over certain fights, so we'll just let Plux pick whatever engaged support he wants to. We can't ban them all. And Plux, as I wanted at the start of the draft, is going back onto a support engaged champion on the Nautilus that was so clean in game number 1.
Hold up 1 second here. The Leona's been locked in. So where's the Blitzcrank going? Blitzcrank did get a buff, so Bruiser Blitzcrank is better than he used to be. He gets additional attack speed on his W, his E does more damage as well, and his ultimate passive allows you to stack up infinitely in terms of the lightning things. Does this mean Aatrox mid?
Nope. We don't know what's going on here at this point. What? Does the Blitzcrank E? A buddy of mine, I want to shout out my childhood best friend Tawa, would go full AD Blitzcrank because of the AD ratio on the E. So I wonder, I mean, you don't see AD Blitzcrank because why would you? This is UPL chaos, as I've said before, at its finest. We're gonna see the role breakdown now. Blitzcrank in the jungle. Aaron. We wanted to see RMC, you said early game carry. Is this what you were expecting?
No, not at all. I did not even consider Blitz Jungle. I don't know how Blitz Jungle's currently here. So this will be my first time watching the new Blitz Jungle as well. I mean, I can theoretically see the ganks being incredibly potent because, that hook comes out of nowhere. We see it all the time with supports, right? And this time as a jungle, you've got more resources. You do more damage as well. It's easier for you to kind of hold that off here. And I actually do like the fact that we are seeing the the Leona in the bot lane to match Nautilus. I think Leona is just better Nautilus. Harder to land the engage, but hey, that's a Nautilus. He's going to engage into you anyway. So free engage plus more CC on your side. Bot lane between Leona and Nautilus often ends up who engages first tends to lose out because they have to burn the first CC here. So CB Gaming, I like the idea of what they've done. They've got a lot of strong skilling as well on their team here. The big question, of course, remains the same as game 1. Can you survive the early game? And specifically, can you survive the bot side early game? Because Bandits, Jax, Vladimir, they need time to skill as well. So all eyes on the bot lane right now. Where does it go? If Draven gets shut down, CB Gaming wins. If Bandits take off the bot side, I think Bandits win.
Yeah. And RMC, usually we're used to the Bandits bringing the wild to the west, but this time around, the Cowboy Gaming Squad is bringing the wild to the Bandits. Let's crank in the jungle. Oh my goodness, I'm just so excited for this matchup. This is do or die for the upper bracket for both of these teams now. in the upper bracket, when you do have a second life in the lower bracket, maybe this is exactly the time to pull out a jungle pick like this. Summoners, welcome onto the Rift for game number 3 between CB Gaming and Wild West Bandits. And boy, oh boy, do we need to buckle up for this one, RMC.
Yeah, so production, thank you, Leanne, has just updated us that Aaron's been actually practicing a lot of Blitzcrank jungle recently. And I think he's in the last 10 games played, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 games of Blitzcrank, he's won 5 of them. Blitzcrank jungle. Yeah, so this is not crazy. This is this is not spur of the moment. This is practiced. And looking at those numbers, it is terrifying. I want to see what they're able to do. Lucky has to flash already here. Bandits trying to enforce their will on the map. And it looks like we might have lost Mac a little bit here.
I'm a silly goose.
Action loss. Oh, there we go. Mac's
back.
back.
Yeah, Mac's a little silly goose. What I was saying, it was a brilliant point, really.
Doubtlessly.
I was wondering if it would be possible to track flashes burned by someone, you know? Because I feel like that's a pretty solid play from Plux early on to kind of set up Pulse here in this extreme... I feel like Jax versus Aatrox is a big skill matchup. And so, with Pulse kind of having a weak start to the series, is he going to be able to come up big in Game 3?
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised by that, too. I didn't think of Jax as a counter to Aatrox necessarily, because Counter-Strike doesn't stop a lot of the Aatrox damage. The multiple Qs, the ease... Aatrox is almost half a caster, more than an auto-attacker, so the Counter-Strike doesn't really stop that. Bot side, John's already putting down a lot of damage onto Maudad, who ate multiple spinning axes to the face here. If Plux can find another hook onto Maudad here with an Ignite, that could be first blood.
Shout out JJ for also taking notes from Wixie on the last broadcast, but another hook connects onto Maudad. Not going to result in much. The level 2 not quite there for Plux to add on a little bit of CC, but regardless, JJ rocking the classic T1 Gladiator Draven skin. Gonna throw some more axes in the start of the wild journey Aaron's gonna take us with this Blitzcrank jungle, looking for another early bot lane gank, but YHL is here to potentially match. Here we go, there's the Zenith Blade engage. Watch Psycho in the back, firing away, one shot after another. First blood goes over to CB Gaming, but YHL, the Sejuani double kill comes through as the Wild West. This is their territory, RMC. If you're wheeling and dealing with something like a Blitzcrank jungle, you better be prepared to throw down with the Bandits.
Oh man, I appreciate that they really wanted to shut down the Draven, and they do get the kill onto Draven. First blood is on Psycho, and they get rid of the stacks. But the dive? Do they have enough damage?
Psycho is just surviving and is able to pick up that kill. Teleport though burned from Kachu. 2 kills early on onto this Aphelios nightmare scenario. Watch, this is an advantageous fight at the moment for CB Gaming. They've got the numbers. YHL shut down. JJ got out here, is going to potentially be taken down, but he's got 1 kill first, cashing in on a little bit of gold. Psycho, oh, it's a double kill for the Silas coming in. Flash away, Cry now barely escapes. I don't know, it does look like CB Gaming not gonna fall into the turret dive early trap here as Aaron trying to hex flash over,
sure about that?
misses the pull. I'm not sure about anything at this point, RMC.
I don't know, man. Aaron looked like he wanted to dive there a little bit here, and well, we said we wanted to see action. We said that early game is probably going to dictate this game. Both teams seem to agree, and it's a lot of focus into this bot side. And already JJ is down significantly. Forget the deaths. It's the levels here. 2 levels down from Psycho. This is a very difficult to play lane for the Draven.
Not only that, but Cry now losing quite a bit of experience in the mid lane himself. Kachu with an experience advantage on the Silas. CB Gaming, the #1 seed from the Ocean Division, are showing up here in game number 3.
Okay, and we're back to us. I was just going to say, and you know what? I can say it anyways. We don't need to scoreboard. The fact that Draven picked up a cult, to me, That is a defeatist moment for Draven. When you pick up the call, you're like, you know what? We're not going to kill in this lane. I just want to farm up. And for Draven, if you just want to farm up, that's not the right mental attitude. You can't play Draven with that sort of mindset. So, you know what? I'm going to take it as a win already for CB Gaming. I said whoever wins the bot lane is going to win, and CB Gaming won bot. So Bandits, prove me wrong, please.
Oh, as we head back into the game, our hope is that the Bandits do prove us wrong here. As RMC, I'm in the same mindset as you right now. You got 2 early kills on the Aphelios, huge. And then 2 kills also for your Sylas in the mid lane with how well Kachu played last game on the Syndra. Kachu mostly focuses on these kind of playmaking assassin-like champions, you know? And so with him getting ahead like this, double buffs to boot, oh, he's in a good position, and he, I mean, in position to absolutely take over from the mid lane alongside Psycho and bot.
Yeah, I think mid's actually going to be pretty volatile with how Crynow has been playing. He's playing very, very aggressively. He's trying to poke out the Sylas here, and Sylas is more than happy to trade. That's his normal pattern in lane here. YHL, though, coming in.
No flash on the Sejuani. Kachu with the summoner spell available. Does have the dashes as well. Gets the heal off of the Kingslayer. Dodged
it?
The W. There's the hook. Oh my goodness. I
don't know
if
if they wanted that.
watched that. But look at this. He's on a killing spree. The Kingslayer plus Conqueror healing gets the ultimate online as well. Hijack is available. But the chains connect. He's locking everybody down. And Kachu, 6 minutes into the game, RMC is 4-0.
JJ's gonna find this kill down here by hook. Oh, Pluck stole it!
Rip!
Okay.
Oh no. Not
JJ
like this.
does not cash out. That is unfortunate. To be fair, he doesn't have that many stacks. Now, a lot of action. Kills literally all across the board here. Every single lane involved. And we don't stop. Kachu now getting hunted down again by YHL.
Does not have flash available, but does have the Kingslayer healing, which may outpace the damage until the W comes through. Shutdown going over to YHL. 3 kills on the Sejuani, though. RMC, not ideal for the Bandits.
I mean, carry Sejuani, I guess. Have you seen the new Sejuani skin, by the way? The championship Sejuani skin? Okay, I believe I saw somebody posted on Twitter with the caption, Dommy Mommy. So, you know what? Maybe we get Dommy Mommy Sejuani coming in this game and YHL carries with it. We'll have to see how that goes. I do want to highlight, though, Kachu did fail a flash, unfortunately. When we saw the hook land onto YHL, they got the kills, but that cost Kachu his flash, and he kind of didn't achieve anything with it, and that came back to bite him again later on that fight against YHL the second time round. So Bandits are able to equalize for now, and despite the fact that, you know, I said that, okay, call defeatist Draven attitude, no bueno. Yes, thank you, Hyper. That's the skin, apparently. It looks like Mordekaiser without a helmet. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but people like it. JJ is doing really, really well, even with the call. I did not expect him to be able to find the kill, but being able to find a kill with the call as a Draven is just going to accelerate you that much more.
Glacial Prison, meanwhile, coming out in the top lane. Lucky, no World Ender. It's the end of the Aatrox up in the top lane. Aaron going to have to back away there. Yeah, hey, there we go. Kills onto Pulse and YHL. The Dommy Mommy coming out 4-2-1 so far in game number 3.
Oh man, Pulse also doing really, really well in that top lane here. Pulse had been struggling up to this point in this series, and I wasn't 100% sold on the Jax as a counter pick to the Aatrox, but at least thus far it's definitely panning out. And we know what a late game Jax can do in terms of split pushing and just generally being a threat, especially when you've got multiple melees who will have to run into range. Plucks with a max range hook here.
Well, I live by a code, RMC, a set of rules. When I see red and white, I know I'm not supposed to fight. But with the red kind of low, Wild West Bandits looking for a little bit of an opportunity. Modad slightly under-leveled, but level 7 on the Aphelios sure does feel good.
Yeah, unfortunately for Psycho, red-white didn't last very long. Now he's at green-white, which I believe green is a go sign, especially for Draven. So, you know, he does have a lot of chakrams right now, so it's a little bit scary, but they're still calling it in.
Glacial Prison comes in, the stun doesn't connect, but Plux finds the CC, and Seiko finds the base. Shutdown goes over to John Johns, a huge amount of gold for the Draven, as the Wild West Bandits are climbing back in. With that, they're gonna be able to take a gold lead as Flash Hook is dodged. Silence comes out, ultimate for ultimate healing, I think is gonna be enough for Cry Now to survive.
Yeah, no, there was no Ignite, so Cry Now was home free the moment he got away. YHL coming in alone, and I love the fact that YHL on this Sejuani is zoning out 2 people, going 1v2, and Kachu and Aaron are just like, nah,
dominating.
We know better. We don't want any of this. Like, you're just too fed for now. We'll have to see how it goes, though, because a lot of gold channeled early into Sejuani. YHL does need to spread it to the carries. I think that was the point you kind of made earlier. Yeah, it looks good. It looks funny early on. They won't be laughing at 20 minutes if all the kills are still in YHL then.
However, the Draven cash-in plus the shutdown is going to actually put a bounty onto JJ, and he's got his mythic item online. So, we were talking about who's going to win the bot lane. Well, YHL coming up huge, really across the board, RMC. We look at the total gold. JJ is out in front on the Draven. We saw a awesome gank up in the top lane, get a kill onto Pulse. YHL clears all the way down, gets to the bot lane, finds another kill, pretty much on cooldown, I think, with his Glacial Prison. Literally from one ultimate timer to the another. So efficient on the Sejuani.
And maybe you go right back for it. Why not, right? Your Sejuani ult is back up here. You know bot side's been working, and it's much we're praising YHL right now. There's questions of Aaron, right? Like, where is the promised Blitzcrank ganks? We've not been seeing too much of it on this bot side. I think part of it's knowing that they don't necessarily win that 3v3. He's kept up in farm, though, so at least, you know, he's kind of balanced it out. But you don't put Blitzcrank to farm in the first place. So, you know, ganks, please, Aaron. I know you've got the highest KP, but more. Always more.
Always more. Never settle for less. Oh goodness. Well, funny enough, through the first 2 games, RMC, we saw quite a focus on early dragons as well as the Rift Herald. I believe we see Aaron actually was able to pick up the first Rift Herald of the game, looking to maybe use it in the bot lane. Predator coming in, but it is YHL who's the one with the gank. Immediately, Aaron is deleted off of the map. The Wild West Bandits looking to try and win this fight, but the shutdown. Lucky is here as well. They brought in reinforcements. You thought it was a surprise gank from YHL. Well, it was a surprise team effort from CB Gaming, and they pick up 3 kills.
Well, ask and you shall receive. You're talking about objective focus, and they started looking at that dragon. Actually, they're not going for dragon. I take that back. Lucky, by the way, I want to highlight, Lucky walked all the way from top lane down, did not burn TP, did not even miss the wave. He's able to TP right back up there. So massive win for CB Gaming. Maybe another massive one here as Hemo Plague not going to save you when there's that much damage. Cry Now just not respecting what Kachu can do with that Everfrost.
As much as the gold board might lead us on to believe that this is a very close game, RMC, there is still a monster in the mid lane for CB Gaming. 6, 1, and 2, Silas. A big worry as the turret falls. YHL is caught out. Pulse looking for the flank. Coming in, can he find some high priority targets? But there's not a whole lot of follow-up. You're dealing with pretty much 2 supports. No damage to help you out. Kachu goes on a killing spree as Pulse was caught out.
Yeah, and this time, unfortunately, the top laner did follow, because Lucky did follow Pulse here, which Pulse did not do the first time round. So CB Gaming still able to get the numbers advantage. JJ was thinking about going up to help, but I think JJ's now realized that, hey, I lost that mid lane turret. There's more people there. Forget helping. I need to leave my turret. I'm diveable right now. You just saw the double support kind of dive there. The sheer CC chain. I don't think Paul's got to move after his Counter-Strike ended.
Yeah, literally no time to flash, no time for an ultimate. Meanwhile, Flash Hook over the wall has caught out Plux. He's going to try to get out, but look, 4 members teleport in. Pulse is going to try to help the tide, but the Bandits lose their ADC. Kachu on a rampage. Pulse trying to run away, trying to stay alive underneath the turret, but you're dealing with 4 members. Look at the huge Counter-Strike, dodging so much. Can't get pulled down to earth by the Gravitum, is able to escape. What a series of events as Pulse manages to survive low health bars across the board. Importantly, RMC, everybody on the side of CB Gaming, stay alive.
And more importantly, not everybody on the side of CB Gaming was present for that fight. Lucky was just straight chilling topside. You guys do what you're doing bot side. I'm going to take this turret. He just keeps wailing away on it, caught up in the CS that he was down initially from laning phase. And CB Gaming, they are terrifying. They do not stop. Kachu is not even fully healed, and he's running straight out of base. That is how much they want to accelerate the game. No time to even heal up.
Guys, we gotta go. We gotta get back into lanes. It's already 2 fully completed items in a 10-stack Dark Seal. That's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. RMC is Kachu already level 11. 2 levels on pretty much everyone except Pulse.
Now, Mac, you see, I'm a literate man. I enjoy my books,
of course.
Especially the ones with pictures. So I would really much like Kachu to upgrade his book right here. As I say that, though, he has no flash, and he's been kind of caught out here. No backup on its way.
Make it a 1v3. The dredge line connects. Where's the Draven setup? Come on, time it. Time it. Come on, you got this. Come on. It was right there. So close. But regardless, he survived a lot longer than I thought he would. Way to go, Kachu. Still a big threat. Shut down. Going over to the Bandits, but look how much that one pick costs them in the mid lane. Pulse looking for a flank, but can't find the angle. Turret falls in the mid lane.
Yeah, and turrets are worth a lot more gold than kills. Granted, I think Kachu might have had a bounty when he went down, so maybe it's kind of worth there. You do get the stacks off as well. Dark Seal now down to 5 stacks here, so that is massive. Aaron?
Look. Literally, he's waiting, trying to get the E, can't quite get it, still lands the hook. Eat it! Dredge line plucks. You mad lad. Does it again.
And I guess this is why, Mac, you wanted to see Flux on this Nautilus so much. He's so good at using that dredge line, not just offensively, but defensively as well. And props to Aaron for knowing that was going to happen. That was why we saw the game of chicken. Because whoever throws the hook first loses. So, Aaron, he was out of time. He had to go into it. And from CB Gaming, they just accelerated the pace of the game. The early game was messy, it was bloody, it was swinging back and forth. But for the last, 3-4 minutes, which doesn't sound like a lot, that's a quarter of the game here, Mac. CB Gaming have been firmly in control here. And the most telling feature of that is vision. Look at the map right now. It's mostly blue. The Bandits have been shoved back, and their vision defensively is actually rather spotty as well.
We see deep wards on the top side of the map for CB Gaming. They've got the intel they want. Dragon, the second one of the game, spawning in about 90 seconds here. Complete map control for CB Gaming, as in this series they haven't really won an early game, but here in game 3 to finish off the series with Aaron on the Blitzcrank jungle, things are looking great for CB.
Psycho, though, is caught out here.
Exhaust to try and slow things down, but not much there to do. A pick for the Bandits, but are they going to be able to get anything out of it, RMC?
Probably not, because unfortunately, at this point in time, death timer is not that long. So
wait, and
Psycho
JJ
will be
used
back
cleanse.
Oh, that's... Yeah, I didn't even catch that. That is interesting and unnecessary. That might come back to bite him, because there is so much CC in this game right now. If you don't have that available for the team fights, yeah, you're really going to struggle to position. And Draven isn't the longest of ranges AD carry. So both teams kind of maybe recalling to reset for this Dragon. It actually kind of looks like the Bandits might not even go for Dragon whatsoever. They're sending YHL up to this top side to just shadow and make sure that Pulse can grab that turret.
Yeah, the one silver lining so far, RMC, is that maybe Wild West Bandits, for the first time all series, they might be forced to play through Pulse on this Jax. He has a level ahead of Lucky. He's done extremely well this game, and it's going to be on him to turn around this match for the Bandits.
Yeah, and I think the other thing about Pulse is that you actually don't want to bring Pulse to the rest of the fight with your Bandits.
Yeah.
You're just buying time, right? Like, with the Vladimir, with the Sejuani, with the Nautilus, you've got a lot of CC, you've got a lot of AoE already here. If you trade even, good enough. Just let Pulse continue to split push on his own. Now, Pulse did recall here, and so Bandits aren't even going to try and force this. They don't have the numbers. The scariest thing for Bandits right now is lack of vision. When there's a Blitzcrank on the enemy team, every bush could be your worst nightmare.
Yeah, that we saw. I remember. I'm getting Duo King flashbacks and imagining you trying to play around the Blitz in the jungle. I mean, he could be anywhere, you know, and it's very tough. JJ very limited ability to escape when getting hooked, so I feel like that's got to be the priority target for CB. YHL, Plux, can they find engages? It's tough. Psycho's positioning on the Aphelios, I feel like, has been great so far. And Kachu, he's already got the Hourglass completed. I mean, no matter what, consistently for the rest of the game, in even starting now, it's a hard place for the Bandits to be when they can't even look to get a good catch on the enemy mid lane.
Oh, Cry now, speaking of getting caught here, is being hunted.
He's going to try to get out of here. Big silence coming out, but a lot of healing. The pool, Cry now, able to run away. Pulse in the middle of the team. Huge ultimate. The Moonlight Vigil is going to root everybody down. YHL is the first to fall. Psycho, full health in the backline. Another hook lands. Plux can't get out of that one as Lucky finishes off the Wild West support. 2 kills go over to CB Gaming.
Don't call it lucky, Mac. That was all skill. and Lucky lucked out in being able to get the final hit there. But that was all Aaron. Max range showcase. They can keep on pushing as well. This is not safe. You can see the Bandits have to disengage. They don't have a tank. Anybody who gets hooked is pretty much guaranteed dead. Maybe Cry now can survive if he's got that Sanguine pool, but even that's a 50-50.
Pushing into the base, CB Gaming have opened this match wide open as Pulse trying to find a big counter-strike into the backline. JJ, full health in the backline, but look at Psycho. Red and white time to melt the enemy team, trying to build up the chakrams. Low mana, low health. Kachu and Aaron trying to get out of there. A lot of damage there onto Psycho. Red is no more. It's green and white. Is it go time? JJ cleansing, trying to find some kills. Look at the low health bars for CB Gaming. That's one. Adoration.
But Psycho's alive.
Coming through. Psycho hanging in there. Psycho firing away. He's got so many chakrams. Look at him go. He's got a triple kill. Make it a quadra kill to finish off this game. Oh my goodness. The ace comes through as the game's not going to be over just yet, but the lead for CB Gaming, 5,000 ahead.
And the carries, Kachu and Psycho this game are popping off now. 9-2 and 7, 7-2 and 6. Kachu restacked his Dark Seal, fully stacked once again. And we saw this in game 2. CB Gaming, pardon me, was it game 1? Oh no, it was game 2, yeah. CB Gaming just seemed to play these messy fights better individually. They enjoy it when there's chaos, and the Bandits are getting baited into overextending here. When they overextended, they don't have those clear battle lines. Cry now didn't even have Hemo Plague till the very end of that fight.
This is going to open up Baron Nashor. You got a lot of damage on Psycho right now. Is placing the turrets, is getting that maximum DPS here. Kachu versus Plux. I gotta favor Kachu in this 1v1 as Plux able to shield away. Kachu manages to get the kill while in the zone. Yes,
he's gonna get out?
To back away. I think he's gonna be able to get out. RMC, look at the healing from the Kingslayer. He is just fine, baby, as Pulse gets rooted down. The gravity pulls him back down to earth as the Wild West Bandits are getting wiped off the map.
CB Gaming can end. They just got Baron. They just got 3 kills. It's only Cry now and JJ. Draven doesn't have the best wave clear. Super's pushing in from the bot side as well here. And CB Gaming, they're just ignoring the turret. They want to go in. They want to end.
They want to move on into the next round of playoffs as one more hook is gonna seal it, RMC. CB Gaming dominate game number 3, and they're moving on into the next round.
Killing Plux for just extra good luck there. One last one for the road, and the Blitzcrank jungle. I've never seen it before, Mac, and I am sold. Aaron making it look incredibly good with the pressure coming out in that mid game. We had said that, you know what, we think it's going to come down to the mid game drops, right? Who's able to do more in the mid game? And the answer, Aaron. Aaron was able to find more, do more.
Hook after hook, RMC. It was those extended fights that we saw the value that really came out. 2 supports, big brain move from CB Gaming as Aaron not only starting fights, but ending them with clutch hooks connecting onto critically low members of the Wild West Bandits. What a final match. to seal the victory. CB Gaming moving on. Wild West gets sent into the lower bracket.
Yeah, and for Wild West, this is not the first time fighting through the losers bracket. They did the same thing in summer as well. You said lower bracket buff. They literally did that last round. So the Bandits, you know what? They're in familiar territory. They'll be fine. And for CB Gaming, new org to the UPL. And they're making their mark already here. They just need to win, what, 2 more, I think, to make them their way. 2 more best of 3s to make their way into the grand finals. So really good start for CB Gaming.
Yeah, RMC, we know from our Excellency days, right, that the CB squad is one to look out for here in the UPL, making an awesome start to the playoffs happen for them, coming out from the Ocean Division with the #1 seed, making their mark here to start things off. We are going to hop into a quick break. Hey guys, we're sticking around. We got more content for you guys. We got a post-game interview. Don't click out of that browser. You won't want to miss it. Hello, everyone. Thank you guys so much for sticking around for the post-game interview. We are lucky enough to be joined by the Blitzcrank mastermind himself, the CB jungler, Aaron.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you so much for joining us here in the casting booth. My guy, how are you feeling after moving on into the next round of playoffs?
You know, I'd like to say that it was like pretty easy, but like it wasn't. It was pretty fun though. It was fun. It was fun for sure. Jungle Gap, Coach Gap, Team Gap, everything Gap. Like honestly, like my coach is kind of the goat for like listening to my call because I told him Blitz Jungle's OP here. He trusted. So shout out
Big
to him.
trust.
Shout out Tiny C.
Big trust, right?
That was legitimately the question I was about to ask you, is what went through the team's head when you told them Blitzcrank? Because I'm pretty sure it's not Nelv, like, or not your coach is saying, this is a Blitzcrank angle. That has to be you. So have you guys practiced this as a team, or was this like literally something you went trust, and they just trusted?
I mean, we didn't have any scrims this week. I just played it a couple solo queue games this week with Blitzcrank, so it was definitely just a YOLO play.
Yeah.
They trusted though, and it paid off.
It definitely did. Those hooks, man. 5 out of 6 of your solo queue games were wins, so I guess we call the Blitzcrank jungle a win.
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness. Building on that, Aaron, this is a new roster for you guys, right? How do you feel transitioning from the regular season, into playoffs? Was there a mindset shift for you guys at all? And what was it kind of like coming together with this group of guys?
I mean, I feel like it was kind of like a wake-up call when we won first in our division, because like we didn't really know what to expect until we won that, and then now it's kind of just like smooth sailing. Yeah. This series was a bit rough because we didn't have any scrims this week, but yeah, I think we're just slowly getting into like better form, more consistent plays, more consistent wins. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, your first game was a little bit rough, but like you said, you're getting back into it, bouncing back. And this means that so far but you guys still haven't dropped a single match thus far. Is that something in the back of your minds, or do you guys not care about your win record at all?
I mean, obviously it's nice to not lose, but I think the main goal is just having the ability to improve, because we do know it's like double elimination, so as long as we're just playing well, it's very chill. And honestly, I think we're winning worlds at this point.
Well,
I mean, the performances we've been having.
To that point, how do you feel about taking more towers than G2?
I didn't even watch the games today because who cares about G2? Who cares about you? But I know it's a great stat. I think we're definitely better than G2. I feel like if we face them right now in a best of 5 series, we would for sure win.
And I bet they wouldn't see the Blitzcrank jungle coming.
True.
They wouldn't. They wouldn't. Yeah, it's too easy.
Well, Aaron, thank you so much for joining us for the post-game interview. Before I let you go, I want to give you the moment to throw out any shout-outs.
Shout out my whole team. Shout out Lucky. I don't think I've ganked him like once this series. I don't think in the past series either. So shout out Lucky. He's the GOAT. Weak side king. Shout out my mid laner Dog Kachu. Like he's actually the GOAT. Like unironically. Shout out Psycho. He's like actually the GOAT.
Everybody's the GOAT. It's a good team. It's good vibes.
Yeah, we have AoE cows. Are we gonna get CB GOAT soon?
And then can't forget about my boy Sandwich either. He's actually the GOAT.
Oh, well, Aaron, thank you. Love the shout outs. Appreciate you taking the time for joining us here in the casting booth. That's going to do it for tonight's stream. Want to thank my main man, RMC, for helping me out, making me, stay par for the course. RMC, it's been an absolute pleasure as always, my man. Shout out Hyper and Leanne behind the scenes, making us look so darn good. And the new graphics. This Unified stream's kind of smurfing. I don't know about you guys, but things are looking real nice right about now. Fall 2022 playoffs. The action is going to be continuing on. Tune in next Friday for some more League of Legends action. And hey, if you're into Valorant, we got Valorant on Unified as well on Thursday night. So lots of esports action here on the Unified Live channel. But again, that's going to do it for tonight. I wish you guys all a very good night.